Hey, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I'm Corey Tanisoff, joined by Gerald Mendoza and Peter Dolan. And we're going to sit here and just talk about sports for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Let's see what we can do. So on the docket for today, we're going to talk about a potential World Cup bid for the United States, and we're going to talk about our favorite stadiums in all of sports. But right now, we're going to start it off with something, just a little opener, and we're going to go through our favorite live sports moments that we've witnessed. Gerald, you want to go ahead and start?
Mine is probably going to be the Orioles winning the 2014 AL East division. I was at that game. I actually had bargain seats from Ollie's for Ollie's night on a Tuesday night at Camden Yards. I mean, $12 seats in that stadium is, it's a steal. But no, we were watching the game, and I remember on the way there, I realized that it was possible for us to clinch, the division and win, and win the division that year after so many years of being the bottom of the barrel. It was really nice to see them finally win, even though our pitcher almost threw it away for us. I have mixed feelings about Ubaldo Jimenez, but anyway. But yeah, so that was the best when they finally, ended the game in the entire stadium. I think it was sold out that night. It was just, it was exploding. It was on fire. It was great. Fireworks, streamers, and everything. It was really fun. Hopefully they can go further in the future, but that's obviously not going to happen anytime soon.
All right, you want to go ahead, PJ?
All right, so I actually got two real quick. So for all the local fans, and I'll beat myself up a bit on this one, I was there in 2012. I went with my dad when the Giants came to Baltimore and the Ravens clinched the AFC North when they won the Super Bowl that year. So I didn't have a good time because I had a good time, but we lost by 30 points and I was getting nachos and stuff thrown at me. But it's okay. It was fun watching all the Baltimore fans lose their mind. Now, for me personally, it was last year. I was at my first game in Yankee Stadium, and Brett Gardner hit his 100th career home run, and it was a grand slam against the Red Sox.
All right, nice. So I've got just like three that I can think of. One of them, I saw Chase Utley's last home game at Los Angeles Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. I was actually in town for that one. My least favorite sports memory that I had in person was the 2014 AFC Championship game that I drove all the way up to Foxborough to see my Indianapolis Colts play against the New England Patriots. We lost 45-7, and the only thing people remember about that game is the Deflategate scandal that came after it. Now, the best sports memory is October 22nd, 2016. It's at University Park, Pennsylvania. Penn State unranked is playing Ohio State, and we're down about 21-17. Now, their kicker goes up for a field goal, blocked by Marcus Allen, ran back for a touchdown. We end up winning the game 24-21. All hell breaks loose. Everybody's running onto the field. People are rioting downtown. It's an excellent time. Got to be there, even though it was 20 degrees outside and freezing. So we're going to start out with PJ. Do you want to go ahead and boot it up?
Yeah, just let me know. Oh, Gerald's already got it. Sure. All right, cool. I'll let this thing go away. All right, so we're going to be talking about I made a little list, my top 5 stadiums for the NFL, MLB, and NBA. I didn't really do NHL, considering that NBA and NHL, pretty much every city, they play in the same place. So,
and you didn't do soccer because you're not internationally educated.
Soccer. That was, that's my bad. But
I didn't know. I didn't expect you to, because soccer is not anywhere near your sport. You will watch hockey before soccer.
Well, soccer just happens to be at 9 a.m. on Sundays. I'm not really trying to be up at 9 a.m. on Sundays. So
you're watching the wrong league. But anyway, continue.
All right. So the deciding factors in this process were aesthetics, functionality of the stadium, the history involved with the stadium, and the fan X factor. So we're going to start number 5 in the NFL is Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. A beautiful location. You're going to see this trend amongst the course of this little presentation is that Pittsburgh is just a beautiful place to put a stadium.
Well, they're all right on the Three Rivers with PNC Park and Heinz Field.
Exactly. So we got PNC Park coming up later, actually. But home of Steeler Nation, you can always expect a good time there. Never been, but I've seen it in person. So it's pretty nice stadium. Like it. And then next we got the Pirate Ship, Raymond James Stadium, and I did put it in here solely because there's a big ass pirate ship in it. There's not. What are you going to do? Not put it on the list of the top 5 stadiums? They have a couple Super Bowls there. Giants got their ass whooped there by the Ravens, But Daniel Jones had his breakout game there, so we got a lot of history with the Giants there.
Yeah, and it was supposed to have a WrestleMania there too.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, they were.
So now we have CenturyLink Field, and as you know, Seahawks home field advantage is debatably the best in the NFL. The stadium is insanely loud, and I don't know what the little clock tower thing is in the middle, but
it's a nice little touch
to it. Yeah.
They when I was studying architecture before I went into music for my career, I would look at stadium architects, and apparently, you know how they say the roof was designed to funnel fan noise back onto the field, like when it goes up?
Right.
That was completely by accident. They didn't expect that to happen. Huh?
So they're not the Falcons.
They're not the Falcons. They don't pump in crowd noise.
All right. So number 2, we got US Bank Stadium. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really watch a lot of Vikings games. So speaking on the fan X factor here is pretty much based solely off of all the videos going around that Stephon Diggs playoff touchdown. As you all know, the Minneapolis Miracle, which was absolutely insane. Not to mention it's a beautiful looking stadium and my favorite out of all the new modern ones getting rolled out. We'll see what LA looks like once it's finished, but of all the ones built right now, that's my favorite new one. And then, of course, I can't pick anything else except for Lambeau Field for number 1. The history there is unmatched. Packer Nation goes crazy. Eli Manning ruined Brett Favre's career on that field. And
he almost ruined Aaron Rodgers' career too with that.
Well, I mean, he did the second Super Bowl run when the Packers were 15-1, and then last time we were up there, the boys decided to go on Justin Bieber's boat, but we don't really talk about that.
Frozen tundra.
I think an honorable mention that I would have put in there is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It's an excellent, beautiful new one with a collapsible roof. And it's got a 360 jumbotron that goes in a circle like on the inside, and it's such a cool experience.
Definitely.
Yeah. Inside of it, they don't give you you go to get a souvenir soda and they fill it up right there. They just give you an empty cup, and they've got the Coca-Cola freestyle machines all over, so you can get unlimited refills however you want.
I would.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So honorable mentions: we got the Superdome. I mean, outside it looks a little raggedy, but inside, absolute insanity. M&T Bank Stadium. This is for all my Ravens fans out there. My dad has season tickets. I go to a couple games a year. It's a really beautiful stadium. It's a really good football stadium, underappreciated. And then next we got the State Farm Stadium, which is the Cardinal Stadium. And, the fact that they grow the grass outside and then roll it underneath the stadium for every game is – you got to appreciate the creativity there. And then we got some not so honorable mentions, and we're going to start with Gerald's home field, FedEx Field.
Let me say something about FedEx Field.
You got it.
It is an absolute dumpster fire. It is just the worst. Corey made a point when in the pre-show when we were setting everything up. The real problem with FedEx Field is that there's only one way in and one way out. So of course it's going to be 17 hours of traffic on the way in and out. And then you're going to watch a crap team lose a game that they should have won. You're going to be disappointed. The food stands are going to run out of food by the end of the fourth quarter. You can't take an umbrella in. So you have to stick it in the trash can with all the beers to make you pour out before walking into the stadium. And not only that, the playing surface is terrible. They've taken out a bunch of seats, not only where the screens are, but also at the top because they stopped selling out the stadium because of how horrible the product on the field is. It was one of my favorite. Well, obviously, by default, it was my favorite stadium in the league because it had the highest capacity. Now they're still unsure about how many seats were taken out of the stadium because Dan Snyder doesn't want to tell anybody. And it just looks terrible. The playing surface is bad. The team is bad. The stadium parking is awful. There's a local church there on the side, like near the stadium, that offers parking for like $20 cash. That's the cheap one, and it's almost a mile away from the stadium. You have to walk a mile to get to the stadium. to watch a game. I've only ever seen a game there once. It was a preseason game against the Bills. It was the year Donovan McNabb was put on the team. Yeah.
Yikes.
It's
So after FedEx Field, we got the Jaguar Stadium. And as much as I glorified the pirate ship in Tampa, I cannot support putting swimming pools in an NFL stadium. Highlights how awful your franchise is. But you know what?
I think the highlight about how awful the franchise is the fact that no one goes to the game. I think it's a nice stadium, honestly, but no one goes there.
It's old too.
Yeah, super.
Like it didn't age. It aged fast.
It aged fast, but that new scoreboard, I think it's like the longest HD scoreboard in the world or something.
Yeah, I saw that. My grandparents used to live down in Jacksonville, and I saw it. You could see it flying in, like out the window of the airplane. You could see the big ass TV screen. It was gross.
Right.
So next we have the home field of my New York Football Giants, MetLife Stadium. This thing is god ugly to look at when you're coming over the Jersey Turnpike. It is just a massive eyesore. But the Giants and the Jets both have been absolutely horrendous recently, so there's not really much of a fan factor there.
But I thought it was one of the better ones because, well, in terms of design, they kept to the spirit of what the Meadowlands used to be, like just a big stadium with people in it.
Right, but then you also combine two teams into one stadium, which, first of all, the Jets need to stop leeching off of the Giants, but that's a different story.
Just a daily reminder that the Buffalo Bills are the only team that plays in New York.
Exactly. So you couldn't even put a retractable roof on there. You know it's going to snow. You know it's going to rain. You know it's going to be windy.
It's New York. I don't think they care.
New Jersey.
A lot of questionable decisions.
Even worse then.
And then after that, we have Jerry World. I mean, I guess in hindsight, it is a nice stadium, but I just hate everything Jerry Jones, and I cannot absolutely.
About to say you get one petty downgrade per listen. This is the one for the NFL.
Right, that's fair enough.
By all means, Jerry World is probably right now the best, one of the top 5 stadiums in the NFL. It was top 5 in the world when it was new, and it's expandable to 100,000 seats.
Yeah, I mean,
it shows you how much everyone.
If it wasn't associated with the Dallas Cowboys, I'd probably have it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Top 5.
Like, it's one of the nicest stadiums in the country, but there's a reason the NFL has only used it for a Super Bowl once, and that's because they don't like Jerry Jones.
Exactly.
The NFL does not like Jerry Jones. We don't like Jerry Jones. Did you see him in his yacht during the draft? You remember that?
You see how he forced CeeDee Lamb to wear number 88?
88.
Oh, that's great.
And now
he did make one good decision though. He drafted our boy what's his name?
Rondell.
Oh, Rondell. Yeah, shout out to Rondell for getting drafted.
Hey.
Not drafted time.
Yeah. All right, so anyway, oldies but goldies. This section's going to be about stadiums that are no longer with us. We have RFK, former Redskins Stadium, the Astrodome, and Candlestick Park, home of the 49ers.
When you say no longer with us, I hope you mean just decommissioned because 2 of them are still standing.
Yeah.
I was about to say
it's no longer in use.
In use, yeah. RFK, I'd never been inside RFK. I went there once when on the outside. That was a staging parking lot for when we were digging DC out of the snow, that one blizzard we had in 2016. I went with my dad. So that's where the trucks were dumping the snow from inside the city to melt it on the parking lot.
Yikes.
That shows you how useful that stadium is.
If I had to put anything in a top 5 that I don't see here, I would add 1 to the worst, 1 to the best, and 1 to the oldies. And I would put in the honorable mentions, I myself, having gone to this beautiful field. Actually, I'm going to start with the worst one. I love how you left out Oco Coliseum.
God,
it's notoriously the worst stadium in all of sports ever.
I think he found a loophole because it's no longer a Raiders stadium.
Then in the oldies but goldies, they played last season in it, or I believe maybe the season before, but the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Rams and Chargers played out of there.
I was thinking about that, but I decided not to count temporary stadiums into this because they're
Right.
just.
But it wasn't a temporary stadium when it was used back in the 80s.
But it was also a nice stadium when it was used back in the 80s.
And then the other one that I would say deserves a little bit of love is Gillette Stadium. It's got an excellent in, an excellent out. It's very travelable, and there's not much around, so it doesn't make it too congregated around there. But they got a nice little outside area that you can go to, like these restaurants and shops. And inside, it's a lovable atmosphere. People talk crap on Patriots fans, but when I went to the game up there, I had nothing but love. People are trash talking. They're like, "Oh, Andrew Luck sucks," but it's like, well, he doesn't. He doesn't. My dad tells a story about how he was at an Orioles game and Ricky Henderson was playing for the other team, and this guy goes, "Boo, Ricky Henderson, you suck." It's like, well, you can say you don't like him, but you can never say Ricky Henderson sucks.
Right.
You cannot
That's
possibly do that with good conscience.
All right. So that wraps it up for the NFL. Moving on to NBA, we got TD Garden, which
Is not the Garden.
if
Not
you
the
refer to TD Garden as the Garden, you're an asshole and have no regard for the history of basketball. So, home of the Celtics, you gotta appreciate the court layout. As much as I hate the Celtics, you gotta appreciate what they symbolize. And the Boston fans go crazy every time. Now we got United Way Center up in Chicago. And then we got the top three for me was automatic. I had them on the top of my head the moment I started thinking of this list. You got Miami at number 3. And if you need an argument, just think back to all those finals against the Spurs. That place was crazy. Miami fans, they love their basketball down there. Then we got Staples Center at number 2, home of the Clippers and the Lakers, the house that Kobe built. And, gotta get a shameless plug in here. The Garden, the real Garden, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, home of your New York Knicks.
They got a cupcake shop right outside.
For us.
The Knickerbockers.
Unfortunately owned by James Dolan.
Hey, they have a theater underneath the court.
Yeah, you can go to Sprinkles right outside while you're waiting in line too.
That's true.
Excellent cupcakes.
Yeah. I mean, if there's something I appreciate about your list, it's the fact that for the most part, all the courts are basically just wood with paint on them, like just regular old classic looking courts,
Right.
with the exception of Boston, but that's because of a historical significance.
Right.
It's not anything like Brooklyn. Have you seen whenever
Brooklyn's on the list on the
when
next
the Nets when the Nets played the Lakers one time, I was watching it on TV. I don't know if it was the Lakers uniform, the court, or both, but it looked like a bunch of highlighters like running around on a sticky note. Like it was bad. Like that gray court is terrible. Like don't do anything dumb with your court if it's not historical significance. Like I said,
stop dragging Biggie's corpse to be your entire marketing plan when he was a Knicks fan to begin with. Anyway, I could go for days on the Brooklyn Nets.
At least they're not
Shout
called.
out Jason Kidd though. We do love Jason Kidd if we're talking about former Nets.
That's fair enough.
All right, so the NBA honorable mentions, we got the Milwaukee Bucks Stadium, we got the Denver Nuggets Stadium, we got the Thunder Stadium, mostly because of the fans up there. Thunder fans, they don't have a lot going on in Oklahoma City, so they go crazy for their Thunder. And then if you like bats and not having a functioning AC unit, you got AT&T Center, home of the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, Spurs fans go crazy as well. So then for the not so honorable mentions, we got the Q. I've seen the Q in person. It is a god-awful looking arena from the outside. Don't have any desire to go inside. Golden One Center, the Kings. There's a reason why the Kings have been trying to get the hell out of that stadium for the last 10 years. And it's because it's a horrendous arena. And then, of course, you got the Barclays Center because, this is my Jerry world of the list. Barclays Center, I'm sure, is a nice place. I've never been. But it's home of the Brooklyn Nets, and they're really just pissing me off lately. And then we got oldies but goldies. Of course, you got the LA Forum and Boston Garden.
I remember, I don't know if it was with you or with Corey. I remember I mentioned something about these dual-use stadiums with the NFL and MLB. Remember how like half the stadiums used to be like dual use?
Yeah.
like with NFL and baseball teams sharing the stadium, and how it would never work because the layout of the field and the way the seats need to be laid out for the play and everything, and it would never work. However, arenas for basketball and hockey are some of the best convertible use, sports facilities I've ever seen because of how perfect they are to be convertible.
Well,
Like
the ice
they're-
is still under the wood. They just put wood over it.
I saw at one time the United Way Center, in Chicago. Actually, they let the ice melt sometimes and just put the wood floor on the concrete and then spray the ice back on when the hockey games come on. If they have enough time between games.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, it's just I think the layout is perfect. They have different sets of seats, some that go further towards the court for basketball, some that stay a little further back, a little more rounded for the hockey rink. I think it's really, if there's anything that shows, different sports can share a stadium, it's hockey and basketball because of how perfect everything fits.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, have you seen the time lapse videos of like the changeover of the
Oh yeah,
arena?
that's what I mean.
It's crazy. But this is the fun one coming up. Your baseball parks. At number 5, we got Oracle Park in San Francisco. If your baseball stadium allows for fans to sit in kayaks outside of the stadium waiting for home runs, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, Barry Bonds had about 500 of them over there.
Then we got PNC Park, another Pittsburgh appearance in the top 5. It's really
More
just
water
a beautiful
features.
location.
Got
Exactly.
a giant Roberto Clemente statue outside, right in the back.
Yeah. Now that Gerald points it out, if there's a water feature, you kind of got me sold.
The real selling factor, I think, is the from a visual standpoint, the thing that makes that stadium. I mean, it's beautiful all around, but the thing that just puts the cherry on top, like Chef's Kiss, is that yellow bridge.
Yep.
It's awesome right there.
Absolutely.
All right, so number 3, we got Camden
Orioles.
Yards.
Camden Yards.
Home to Baltimore Orioles. We love Camden Yards. We love the low ticket prices to go to such a beautiful stadium because the organization is shit.
And there's, especially for Camden Yards, I've been in about 15 or 20 different MLB ballparks across the U.S., but Camden Yards is easily the most accessible. I mean, whenever I go, I pay $5 or $10 to park at a church off West Hamburg Street, coming in straight off Martin Luther King. And then it's a 5-minute walk under the underpass just to get there. You can go anywhere in any of the parking structures in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore and just walk in.
Right.
There's
and then
like
they have the light rail station that goes right next to it too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the historical significance.
No player still has ever in a game hit a ball off the warehouse. The only player ever was Griffey Jr. in a home run derby.
I know they need to have another. They need to have another All-Star game at Camden Yards.
If you hit the ball out of the park, and so right in front, those who are unfamiliar with Camden Yards, right in front of the warehouse towards the stadium, there's a walkway, like really wide, like a road that you can walk on, and that's where you get through to get either to your seats or to get concessions. And if you hit a ball onto it, they take wherever it landed and they put a little bronze plaque in the ground, and it puts the date and how far it was with your name on it.
I mean, yeah, and the significance of Camden Yards is that they redid the baseball stadium structure, because before then it was, like I said, it was time for convertible stadiums, sharing it with football teams and everything, and some of those dual-use stadiums were awful. But once Camden Yards was a baseball-only stadium, and they saw how successful it was, how beautiful it looked, and how nice it was, and the positive player reception and everything, it revolutionized the new baseball stadium design. Now you see a bunch of them with uneven, asymmetrical dimensions around the field and all that. I mean, it changed a lot of things for baseball for the years to come, and I think it's that's really important because we're not stuck with sharing stadiums with NFL teams like O.Co Coliseum.
Oh.
We're just gonna keep on dumping on that stadium because it's absolutely terrible.
It's horrendous. So maybe that's why it's not on the list, because I just really didn't feel like the time of day trying to type that out. But so we got Camden Yards. We love it. student discounts every Friday home game. Whenever the hell baseball starts up again, bring your student ID. You get in for $5.
And they got Friday fireworks.
Yes, sir. All right. Fenway Park at number 2. I was thinking about putting it number 1, but as a Yankees fan, I couldn't bring myself to do it. You got the Green Monster. I mean, what else do you want to say? It's Fenway Park. And number 1, we got Wrigley Field. Honestly, no debate here. The Ivy, the history of the Cubs. If the old Yankee Stadium was still up, it's probably the only one that would have taken this spot over.
Oh man, you're missing one.
Well, that's
Put up my.
That's on honorable mention.
Camera, real quick, Gerald.
Yeah, hold on. Let me.
MVPs are born here. We got 3 of them on our team. MVP,
Dodgers.
baby. There's no sunset more beautiful than the one at Dodger Stadium. I'll tell you that.
Fair
Looking
enough.
out, seeing the 3 palms over in right field. They got bleachers out there. Get iconic Dodger dogs. The history of the stadium to have for the last 60 years have Vin Scully announce, and now we've got Joe Davis doing it. It's a nice experience. It's excellent.
Rick Monday saving America.
Yeah, I mean, it was really the baseball stadiums. This was the hardest list to do because baseball stadiums are the most unique, and there's so many of them, you know, especially for teams like the Dodgers and the Red Sox and the Cubs that like respect their tradition and don't blow up old stadiums like the Yankees.
And one of the stadiums that I don't see on here, which I'm glad that it's not on the not so honorable, that I actually came to like is Citi Field, Met Stadium. It's a pretty beautiful stadium on the inside of it. The only issue that I ever had with it is how much trash is just blowing around in the stadium. But if you enter through the main gates, it's got an escalator that leads up with all these like exhibits through glass on the walls. It's just an excellent. But the traffic getting in is god awful.
Yeah, I was gonna go to a game at Citi Field at some point coming up. You know, obviously everything went down the way it went down, but I was planning on going up there. I was excited to see what it looked like. But honorable mentions, we got the new Yankee Stadium. I've been there. It's pretty corporate now, and you know how that all goes. But it's still got. They tried to get the aesthetic of the old Yankee Stadium in there, and I mean, no matter what you say, no better place to be than the Bronx in October. So and then we got
MVPs,
Target
baby.
Field, home of the Minnesota Twins, and Coors Field, home of the Colorado Rockies.
You
Not
like Target
Coors
Field
I
because
hate
you
Coors
could.
Field.
I like Coors Field, man. Coors Field is slept on.
Mile high.
In the oldies but goodies, I see you didn't mention the Kingdome, which was one of the best in Seattle.
Well, because they didn't put the right glue on the ceiling tiles, they kept on falling on the floor. I don't know what else to tell you. Like
In the last
you start dropping a few places when the ceiling panels start dropping on players' heads. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
from the day the tiles fell to the day it went down, there was the last one falling. So,
all right. So so you said Target Field. I'm guessing you say that because you love running through Minnesota as a Yankees fan.
well, yeah, you got a lot of good memories going on at Target Field.
Fair enough.
Or
And then
the-
the not so honorable mentions. You put any park with a dome or retractable roof in Kauffman Stadium. Now,
made with a fucking pole in the middle of center field.
What?
what Kauffman?
No, the Astro Stadium.
Well,
They
the
got rid of
Astros
the-
Stadium-
they used to have
Astros
a-
Stadium has a retractable roof.
They've
And-
got dude. They have a hill in center field.
I think
Yeah.
they got rid of the hill. They got rid of the hill. They got rid of the flag.
I did it. Some of the Astros are well known, and you know what? The stadium's got a lot of cameras and shit in there. You don't really know what's going on. But a lot of shady business. But
I think
I just thought since they had a retractable roof, I just put the Astros under that broad category. And then Kauffman Stadium. No offense to any Royals fans out there, but that big old crown in the middle of center field has got to be the worst thing I've ever seen.
it's like half a horseshoe. And the front, like I'm like, why don't you just put at least a few things in front, like on the outfield line instead of water fountains?
Well, there's no such thing as a Rays fan either.
Yeah, that's you know what, that's pretty true. That's pretty true. And then
That
You know
stadium's horrendous.
when the
stadium. They've got the backdrops in the outfield, but it's a solid stadium. I don't mind. Like the NL West probably has the some of the finest stadiums. Impact on baseball playing itself. It's a fine looking stadium.
I mean, it's fair. And then we also have to acknowledge the fact that Rogers Center or Sky
God.
Dome, the Sky Dome, as we're gonna call it, it hasn't been good. It hasn't fostered any good memories until Joe hit that home run. Since Joe hit that, I mean that bat flip by Bautista.
Oh, hate it.
If they weren't in our
Bautista is my
division,
least favorite baseball player of all time. Jose Bautista is my least favorite baseball player of all
You
time.
hate him. We hate him. I hate him. You hate him. I
He's
know
the worst.
BJ hates him. He's the worst.
no, I mean, I got my own grievances. Jose Bautista compared to the likes of Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve is not really
Well, it's different though
my
because
concern right now.
none of them cursed out Orioles fans as he was rounding the bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So that
The oldies but
that up.
goodies. I appreciate the fact that the old Yankee Stadium is there. Because if Yankee Stadium was still there, with the
that would have been
exception of
number
Tampa,
one on my list.
I know if the old Yankee Stadium was still there, the AL East would have had the best stadiums in any division in the MLB because of historical significance of each one of them. Again, with the exception of Tampa Bay, you would have had old Yankee Stadium, which was a cathedral. You have Fenway Park, which is immensely historical and significant. You have Oriole Park at Camden Yards, which revolutionized stadium design, and then you had the futuristic Rogers Center or Sky Dome, which at the time was still viewed favorably. But like you said, the Steinbrenners blew that crap up, so that
But that wraps up the stadium countdown that I made.
I'd like to put in a little one of my own in the last because I feel like there's an entire sport that we're not touching on. College football. I think that with college football, it's a pretty easy look down at like 5 best. I personally like Texas Stadium as my 5. I think that it's iconic and huge and beautiful. Probably the 4th best.
Which one? The University of Texas or
UT?
Okay,
UT Austin. Yeah, excellent field. Longhorns, hook 'em. Then next would probably be the probably where in LSU. It's just a big sprawling field.
Yeah.
Tiger Stadium.
Tiger Stadium. It's excellent.
Apparently they used to have dorm rooms built into the stadium.
Really?
Imagine studying for your biochem final and then someone scores a touchdown.
Then the 3rd best, and it pains me to say it, it almost makes me throw up in my mouth, is Michigan, the Big House. Disgusting. Hate Michigan. Hate Michigan. Michigan's terrible. Jim Harbaugh's a terrible coach. He's the worst. There's not an explanation. Michigan sucks. That's it. Michigan's a terrible football team. Big Ten, it runs through Penn State and Ohio State. That's all I'm saying. But that's probably number 3. Number 2 is the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl is probably, I'll say the Rose Bowl is probably one of the most iconic stadiums in all of sports.
I think it's one of the most historically significant stadiums in this country.
Absolutely.
Like, if there was a vote for the national stadium of the United States, because we don't have one. Most countries do, but we don't have one. If there was a vote for that, the Rose Bowl would have to be one of the finalists. Because,
and the Jerry Dome would be there.
God, he would have bought his way to that ballot. All right, because
I would move to Canada before I let Jerry World be the symbol of America.
And then number 1 is the only place that you're going to find 107,000 drunk students cheering on a team, everybody coordinated in all white in a nice college football experience, and that's Beaver Stadium, University Park, Pennsylvania. Excellent crowd atmosphere, and that's what builds into it is the historic relevancy of it, how it's been around forever, and it still seats 107 comfortably. And it's got the student section in the back that always puts on their T-shirts and forms the S right behind the goal line, and then nothing's better than a whiteout at Beaver Stadium. It's got to take the cake.
Yeah, can't really argue with those selections. I mean,
obviously,
I'm partial to.
Honorable mention is Boise.
Boise, yeah, the blue field, the Smurf turf.
Honorable mention, and it's for the exact opposite reason that the Brooklyn Nets got a dishonorable mention, And I think that the blue turf, they did it first. They did it, and it looks weird. It looks like you're playing Tecmo Bowl,
I feel like
but it's iconic. It's Boise, baby.
I discredited myself by putting a pirate ship stadium in my top 5, so I'm not really going to speak on the blue field, but I really don't like that blue field. That is like I gotta turn the channel anytime there's.
Well, you don't. Well, but here's the thing: is if there's no box score like there used to be, they wouldn't even put the box score up in the corner. They would just announce it at the end of each timeout or whatever. You knew Boise's playing.
Yeah,
I mean that's fair.
You know it's the home game.
I'm gonna anger you a little bit, Corey. I'm gonna say the horseshoe deserves to be somewhere in the list.
I would maybe put that in the honorable mentions, but the thing is, the horseshoe doesn't get that much. Like, it's a fine stadium, but it doesn't have anything else to it. Like, the other ones have like certain elements to them. Like LSU goes wild, they go ridiculous. In the honorable mentions, I'll put Arkansas because nobody does football like Arkansas does football. Then in the dishonorable mentions, one of the worst built stadiums in the entire NCAA and the FCS or in the FBS, does not deserve to be a Big Ten team, should go back to the ACC, is University of Maryland Terrapins. Awful.
Yeah.
I got a crab cake there once, and the bun was like crunchy. It was like eating saltine crackers. And for that, they get a 0.08.
I mean, yeah, if there's one thing you got to do right, it's the seafood here, especially the crabs. But
it's University of Maryland. You got to have a good crab. The crab cake was fine, but don't give me a crusty bun.
Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. Yeah,
and also in the worst list, and I don't know anything about the stadium, but I know about the team, is Rutgers. That's the worst one.
I've driven by the stadium a couple times and it looks like ass. So
Yeah,
I think with Rutgers,
it's also in New Jersey, so
it's the most non-memorable stadium probably in the Big Ten is Rutgers.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to a huge, incredible stadium is Iowa. Iowa's got the Children's Hospital.
Kinnick Stadium. Gotcha. Yeah.
Kinnick Stadium. It's got the Children's Hospital in the back. And then after the third quarter, when that ends, they do the wave and everybody waves towards Children's Hospital. One of the most emotional moments in college football is doing that. And nothing's like it. One of the most forgettable, though, is Northwestern, because Northwestern is a forgettable. You don't remember Northwestern's in the top 10.
That makes sense. You know the reason we have Northwestern's fight song, or we had Northwestern's fight song at our high school?
Why is that?
Because it's purple.
Wait,
the original band
Northwestern's high was.
Yeah,
it was
our fight song is titled "Go Northwestern Go." If you listen to it like during a football telecast, you can hear it. You're like, that's we knew that because we were both in a band, and the sheet music says the title of the song is "Go Northwestern Go."
That's goddamn awful. I didn't realize that.
At least
it's long reach.
Something
it's long reach. What did you expect?
Do USC, do Texas, USC probably has the best fight song in all of college football.
While we're on the topic of fight songs, the Maryland fight song and the fight song that the Ravens play, that sounds like "Oh Christmas Tree." I hate that. I hate it.
You do know that's that's the tune to our state song, right?
Awful.
Yeah, well, it's terrible. Why is our state song "Oh Christmas Tree"?
Because I don't know, because we don't have John Denver here. I don't know what to tell you.
West Virginia, also Mountaineers have an
excellent
stadium. It's an electric atmosphere.
And when they sing Country Roads.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things in football that are just electrifying, and it's a Penn State whiteout. It's the Iowa waving to the kids. It's when everybody in the Arkansas stadium goes, "Woo, pig suey," and it's WVU singing the Mountaineers, singing John Denver. And it just doesn't get better than that.
I mean,
aside from rivalries, everything else cast away. I'm not talking Red River Showdown. I'm not talking any of that. I'm just talking purely experience. If you don't know anything about football, you're going to go, probably the sport you can go to and have the best time is a college football game if you know nothing about sports.
I've seen a lot of people,
you get a wine bag strapped to your leg. You pass that through security, and then you get in and just go for it.
Just go for it. One of the things I've seen is that on other YouTube channels, there's foreigners who react to American sports culture. And for the most part, it's all right. And then they get to the college football section. I mean, there's no competition. College football has the best fans in the U.S.
Absolutely. Well, and the difference between, and I would probably consider my favorite sport to be baseball, but that's because I know more about baseball than I know about anything. But college football is by far the most enjoyable to watch, just because people with NFL and people with NHL or basketball or MLB, you have a favorite team because of where you're born. You don't really like. I chose all my favorite teams when I was a kid. I was just like, I like that team, and I started following them. But most people, they've got that geographic thing that ties them down. But you choose where you go to college. You choose that for any reason, and you live there for 4 years, and then you love that team. You go to war for that team, and you don't get that in any other sport.
I mean, yeah. And but yeah, they said that from what I've seen, the reaction videos to the chants, the traditions, the just the fan atmosphere, the crowd capacities, because let's be honest, they sell more tickets than NFL stadiums, and they have a bigger capacity. So,
absolutely. So segmenting into or segueing into our next segment. Speaking of international, we're going to go to Gerald. He's got a presentation on a little layout for. You can describe it better than I can. Go ahead.
All right. So, I am of the idea that this country is the best at hosting international sporting events. When it comes to the Olympics, no other city in the world comes close to the Olympics that LA can host. That's
or Atlanta. Atlanta did one pretty damn well.
I mean, yeah, but LA can host one. LA can host one tomorrow if they want to.
Absolutely, without a
they
doubt.
can. They just in a week.
You could have 100 in a place maximum.
You know what I meant. Anyway, so LA, but in terms of countries that can host the World Cup, that's arguably one of the biggest, if not, the only competition to the Olympics in terms of biggest sporting event in the world. There's only so many countries that can do it, and I think the U.S. is the only one that can actually do it tomorrow because of the stadium and the city infrastructure and the tourist infrastructure and the size and the economy that we have. There's no other country that can do it. And I've come up with a proposal that should the rest of the world's stadiums for some reason fail and just completely become obsolete, that you would have a lot of World Cups back to back to back in the United States. You're going to want to sit back and get comfortable for this. And there's a lot of pictures on here. There's a lot of stadiums. So this is a plan that I came up with. I highlighted them out, different regions. Each region by itself can host a World Cup. So you would have a bunch of stuff. You would have this New England and Northeastern corridor. You have this Mid-Atlantic section. You'd have this top of the South section. You have this SEC section, Florida, and you get this Southwest section minus Texas, California. This area right here in pink was the hardest to find because there's no one who lives here, basically.
Nebraska, Salt Lake City.
I mean, yeah, Nebraska and Salt Lake City were the only, and Denver and Kansas. But when it comes to Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and North and South Dakota,
Kansas doesn't even have Kansas City.
It has half of it.
It's got the worst half. No offense to anybody living in Kansas City, Kansas.
It's got the worst half. I mean, so basically, anyway,
one of the 11 of all time came out of North Dakota State University. Adam Vinatieri, number 4, all-time points leader.
That's true. 11 distinct regions that can host a World Cup back to back to back to back to back. So there's some features, obviously 11 distinct regions, hosting regions. Each region will have its exclusive set of 12 stadiums at least. Texas and Florida, because of their infrastructure and stadium ability, Hawaii will all be excluded just for logistical reasons, and they don't have a viable stadium or even a viable stadium to renovate. Like, they might have one there, but it might just be a field with a single stand on there, like they have at University of Delaware. So, some of the requirements for hosting a World Cup are kind of, you have to have the minimum seating requirement is 40,000 seats. You have to, you have to have a certain number of hotels and all that, and you have to have a certain number of training facilities available for the teams and all that. So all that's going to be, we're going to push that to the side for just a second. For the most part, they're all covered with the exception of a few locations. But we're just going to focus on the stadiums here, and and that's really the biggest piece of hosting at this point, that profitability. Also, for most of these, assume that seats, because of FIFA regulations, you have to have a seat. You can't have benches. You have to have a seat for each person with a ticket. So you would have to assume that most of these are going to have just, I think, seats bolted onto the bleachers, because that's the easiest thing you could do. So, just, keep that in mind. But this is the first region, the New England, New York, and New Jersey region. You got Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. Now, in Massachusetts, we have Gillette Stadium. It's been used for soccer before, been used for international soccer matches, for English Premier League matches, international club matches. Is really good stadium, like Corey said. Very nice area, very easy to get to, travelable, and all that. You also have Boston College. Hold on, let me pull up my notes. Can you guys see this or not?
Yeah.
You can see this little screen?
Yep.
All right. Well, anyway, Alumni Stadium at Boston College. You have Fenway Park, and you have it with a temporary reconfiguration because it can host soccer matches, and it would be nice to have a historical stadium on the ticket for this region. You just have to scrub it a little bit. But as you can see, they've done it before.
That's really interesting. I wouldn't have even thought about that.
For the World Cup, if you can go back, do you think they would do what they do like for the NBA, like when they transition from hockey to NBA, where they put makeshift seats in the outfield and the
I'm pretty sure you can, because
Well, here. Oh, go ahead. Finish yours.
if you look back at the history of Fenway Park, at some point it was also used for Patriots games. So I mean, they have around the Green Monster, you can put some bleachers that go a little bit further up, and then also just use the seats that are on top as well. So you could host it. It would need a little bit of an expansion and the reconfiguration, but it's not the only baseball stadium that's here on this list. So,
well, that brings me to my next question: is that the World Cup season runs directly parallel to the MLB season, so this would have to be something that was easy to take in and take out.
yeah, but I think actually for baseball, since most of it is grass, the only thing you would have to move around, depending on scheduling, you can schedule things while a team's on a road trip, have one game. If you want to schedule it around early summer, you can have a June World Cup where the All-Star break also happens around that time. I mean, the way World Cups are structured, you would use more one stadium more than another, and then another stadium more than that one. So you would have the minimum that one would be used, like a baseball stadium, you would do like 4 games total. And you can fit that in within a month, just choose 4 dates that the team isn't playing there with a couple of days for turnaround, and it would be easier that way. But in terms of other stadiums, like, in the middle of July, you're not going to be using Gillette Stadium for anything. So that's where you would host the most games comparatively instead of at Fenway Park. But it would be nice to have that historical significance there as well. So if you keep them on going, you get Harvard Stadium.
Harvard.
Yeah, so it'd be, old style, classic. I think this one has benches, so you would have to put in those seats on top of the bleachers like I was talking about. And then in Rhode Island, you would need a significant renovation. And basically,
God.
Yeah, what does that fit? 2,000 people?
It fits 20,000 people. But what you would do at this point, because
20,000 gremlins.
for real, what you would do is you would make a proposal, say, all right, we need to rebuild this stadium. We're going to use it as a World Cup stadium. And then after that, it can be your stadium.
I can't tell if that to the left, if it backs up on the bottom left, if that's a walkway or if that's a road.
Over here?
Oh, that might be a parking lot.
It might be the parking lot. Oh, there's a stand over here. I don't know if you guys saw that.
So
Yeah,
what is that? Is that is that for the college?
Yeah, that's for the college. So what you would do is say, all right, if the college puts down some of the money and say, we can renovate the stadium, you'll help us host the World Cup, and you'll be better off with the stadium because just be a motivator.
Well, here's something that I'm going to tell you is I don't think that Brown is even in the FCS.
I think they're in the Ivy League or something.
They might be Division III football. So I don't think that they would be too keen on dropping some bucks in expanding their stadium. because I don't think that ever fills up past the halfway mark.
You don't think you think this B is always visible?
Absolutely, 100%.
Fair enough. Well, it's just an idea. This would be like a
There's
I
a
said,
house
this is
200 feet away from the end zone. Less than a football field away from the end zone, there's a house.
I mean, again, this is like an emergency situation where like the
And the
other
house up
countries
in
of the world
top left are
cannot
half
host.
sideways. They're all bent. Brown needs to figure it out.
You could Airbnb that house if the World Cup was at that stadium. You know how much you could rent your house out for?
Oh my god!
Fair enough. Just get
Party house.
just buy some binoculars and be like binoculars extra for rent or something.
You don't even need binoculars. It's your backyard.
Just build a deck.
Jesus.
No, just stand on the roof.
Stand up. Fair enough. So
What do you
obviously,
think's closer, the top of those bleachers or that dude's house? Like
House.
his backyard.
100%.
probably the house.
100%. The house is obscured by their scoreboard, and also they would need a jumbotron.
Yeah,
They would
that's
need
true.
something.
But jumbotrons are pretty cheap. The portable ones, the removable ones.
Shoot, let me buy one.
I mean, if you have that money,
It's pretty cheap.
fair enough.
Well,
But anyway,
sorry, Brown. Anybody that's a Brown alumni, just
so this could be like
No offense
instead of
to
that,
Brown
it could be
alumni.
like a training facility if you want. All right, like
Absolutely.
fair enough. You could have the Yale Bowl.
Yeah. Excellent college,
Absolutely.
simple college football stadium. Very iconic for Ivy League games.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the really old pictures of a Harvard Yale Bowl.
It's got to be.
Yeah, because they have an H and the Y in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's the checkered end zones.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Classic, historical, really good. And you have
You can tell it's old because people show up to Yale games.
that's true. That's true. This park at UConn has been used for international soccer as well. Pretty good. It's mostly bleachers. It has a seated section, but it'd be really good for it has like 50,000 capacity, so it'd be right on the money for that. New Era Field where the Bills
Beautiful
play.
stadium, by the way.
Huh?
I went to the first game in 2018 to Bill Stadium, and I think it had a different name. It had somebody's name in front of it, but beautiful stadium, nice view, great screens. It would absolutely be fit for a game like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Nice open space, nice. You can hold a good number of games there. The Carrier Dome at Syracuse. You could host some games there. You could. They're getting a new roof, and I don't know if that roof is gonna have enough sunlight coming in for them to grow some grass in there. I'm not sure. It could, maybe not. I'm not sure. But very good facility to use. Yankee Stadium, the new one. See, Yankee Stadium is already used as a soccer field, by the way. The MLS uses it, while the MLB uses it. Like the MLS season is in the middle of the summer, so is the baseball season. So I know that like with these baseball stadiums that I'm going to be including, the turnaround is going to be incredibly easy because I know they already do it.
What is it? New York City FC?
Yeah, NYCFC.
Yeah.
So I think also that just to have Yankee Stadium host a World Cup game, I think it'd be pretty fitting.
Yeah, that looks
So I'm assuming that for like all the group stages is when you use your baseball fields and your college fields.
Yes.
And then as you progress towards the World Cup finals, when you start
Then you
using
do
like your
Buffalo
Gillette
and that.
stadiums and your
The way it's structured, they have a hosting structure. Your opening game and your final game have to have at least 80,000 seats. Your stadium.
okay.
Your semifinal games have to have, and your third place games have to have 60,000 seats, and everything else is just a 40,000 cap. So you would use this, yeah, definitely for a couple group stage matches, maybe like a second round match, and that'll be it. Then it'd be done. Same thing with Fenway.
and
Then
also
you just-
New
yeah.
York stadium, the Yankee Stadium would have to be in the group stage just because of traffic concerns.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be
Yeah, you have a bunch. Just have Ireland and Italy play each other again in New York. Just have that happen.
It's a bunch of Italians committing hate crimes.
They did it. They did it when the U.S. hosted in '94, which is still the most financially successful and second most attended World Cup of all time. They had the Meadowlands as one of the host stadiums, and they had Italy versus Ireland. And apparently, it was one of the biggest Irish crowds ever
Well,
Well,
one,
at a soccer game.
one thing that MetLife Stadium has that a lot of other places don't is it's got an excellent camper area.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the parking lot is huge.
It has
The,
an enormous parking lot.
the whole Meadowlands complex. I've been to a couple games up there. I mean, it's huge. It's just the stadium looks like hell from the outside.
don't they have like
Yeah,
an indoor
performed,
skiing
yeah.
section like down like on the other side of the parking lot?
I don't know what that is. My dad doesn't know what that thing is. That big, it just.
In
If you've ever been to the Meadowlands, you know exactly what we're talking about.
it looks like a training facility.
That big.
I think it's just the Maras spending surplus money so they don't have to give it back next year.
It's
Well,
just a half. I don't even know what the hell that thing is.
In high school for our marching band, one of the years, Drum Corps National, or not Drum Corps National, but the championships were in Meadowlands. So we traveled up there. That was the year that the Super Bowl was held. So we were there like before that was happening in, I think, January or December. We traveled. But it looks whack from the outside, but on the inside, it's a huge stadium.
Oh
It's like
yeah, it's massive.
Standing there on the turf, it's enormous.
No, it's huge. It's just the outside is just so horrendous. It'd be so much of a better stadium if they just had done something.
Well, they you know what, you can complain all you want, but at least they paid for their own stadium. They didn't force the city to pay for it.
Right.
You know, and by them you mean the
The
New York
owner.
Giants, because the Jets.
The Jets are just riding the coattails.
God forbid the Jets have an original idea in their franchise history. So
I mean, they did choose green.
yeah.
Anyway.
you saw where that got them.
Anyway, after Yankee Stadium, you have West Point, the where the Army Academy is.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice stadium for them to use. I think this one might need a couple extra seats, but you can easily put them here in the corners. Just put some temporary stands, and then you got your stadium ready. And then you also, obviously, a contender, most likely the final location. It's got to be MetLife Stadium. It's hosted a couple of other really big matches. It's hosted a number of Brazil versus USA matches. It hosted the final of the 100th anniversary tournament of the Copa America in 2016, filled to the brim with Argentinian and Chilean fans. You know, it's a really good stadium, and you know, having a stadium in basically what is the financial capital of the world, or at least right across the river from the financial capital of the world, is a no-brainer. So, again, you said very nice stadium from the inside. However, the outside is
Needs some love.
the outside looks as bad as FedEx Field looks overall.
Ha. Yeah.
Let's just, at least it's clean. That's all I'm going to give it.
The Cleveland Stadium does from the outside.
That's true. All right, so, and you also have Rutgers Stadium.
Ugh.
God, that's so gross.
It's
Just-
terrible.
It's bad.
It's bad, but it's useful. It's useful. That was section 1.
Not useful for winning college football games.
That's fair enough. Maybe it'll be good for World Cup games. Section 2, the Mid-Atlantic region. This is Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and West Virginia. Like I said, there's nothing in Delaware worth even touching, so you'd leave Delaware out. Don't tell Delaware they're not part of the DMV acronym. Anyway, right off the bat, Mr. Corey Tanasov's hometown.
Look at that. Tell me that that's not one of the most beautiful sights in the world. Enormous, huge. It's got an enormous parking lot for tailgates. You can go out there. That can
Doesn't
be
it have like an acre of like I mean, not an. It doesn't have like 100 acres of where people camp out to like do pregame and all that.
Let me look it up.
Like on a hilly, like a hill or something. Like it's just like it just look like a giant open field where people set up a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, it is. There's 500 acres.
Jesus Christ.
Now
Yeah.
imagine that with international fans for a World Cup.
Well, and here's the
that'd be
cool thing
insane.
is tailgating. It's like tailgating at any other college football game, except you've got 100,000 people squeezing into 500 acres. So you've got 100,000 people 107,000 people in the stadium, and then you can have an additional like 50,000 people sitting in the tailgate watching on their like listening to the crowd noise, watching on their TVs, whatever.
You would
have
set
to-
up no at that point. What you do is you set up because it's a World Cup city. They all have to have like a fan zone. That could be fan zone. Just set up the screen, set up a bunch of stands and everything where they sell
500-acre fan
food and memorabilia, like flags and all that. That'd be
That would be
perfect.
You have to have the final there.
Well, and especially consider this, which is really also another cool thing, is that it runs separately. When does it start? When does the World Cup season start?
World Cup is usually June to July.
Okay, so that is 100% out of the college schedule. So there's no kids on campus who are like struggling with traffic.
I mean, yeah.
Things are still open downtown because they're always open.
If the college wants to make more money, they just open up the dorms as hotels.
Exactly. They could do that. Hotels are already hard enough, but that's the other additional problem is that hotels are already expensive and hard to come across in Beaver Stadium or around Penn State, even for just like a standard whiteout game. So they would have to consider opening up the dorms as hotels.
I mean, yeah, but we're not talking about logistics. We're talking about stadiums.
Right.
But fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, this is definitely, I think, this region's contender for the final because it's just enormous, incredible location and the history behind it. And it's an incredible atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah, they even have piss basins in the bathroom where you just like, seriously, like those like really wide urinals that everybody stands in front of. They got those.
Excellent. I think the Europeans will feel right at home.
Right. No bidets though.
Yeah.
Now, what's the ones that they have in Costco? I don't know why we're talking about urinals, but the most fascinated I've been by urinals, I went to Costco and it was just this big, just pit. It was interesting. It was real.
I think that's what it was. So,
Anyway, back to
back to stadiums.
Oh, you're talking about the one that goes all the way down to the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are so strange.
I don't like it. It's weird.
I mean, it feels like I'm just pissing on the floor.
All right.
Anyway,
I don't want to hear
Beaver
about the
Stadium.
pissing on the floor. Then 106 is the timestamp to skip past.
I know, right? Beaver Stadium. So contender for the final. Then you have Lincoln Financial Field where the Eagles play. It's been used for soccer before. They have a good field.
It backs up right to Citizens Bank.
And you can have, and that's what I was gonna say. I've been to a 76ers game. The sports complex in Philly is really nice. You got all the stadiums right there.
Yep, you've got Wells Fargo.
So you got plenty of space if you wanted to do like fan zones and stuff. You got so
Yeah,
much.
you could just have it at you could just have the
And they
giant
have,
screen at Citizens Bank be like a watch party, a giant watch party.
They have
Or you could have
like,
two games
they have
running.
a massive like bar in the middle. It's like I think it's a Verizon thing. I don't know, but like so you have in the middle of the complex you have this bar like fan zone area already built, and then you have. And that's in the middle of the three stadiums which are surrounding it. And then you got the whole massive parking lot surrounding all of that.
Yeah. So Philadelphia, I think this is Lincoln Financial Field, I think it was.
Yeah.
So then you have Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Like PJ said, it's one of the nicer stadiums in the NFL, according to him. Again, good size. Mustard yellow seats will be iconic right off the bat. And the view.
Play there.
Huh?
Pittsburgh Panthers play there.
Yep.
University
Yes,
of
they do. And then after that, you could also use this baseball stadium as a soccer stadium as well. Again, a couple of first-round matches, and then that'll be it.
Do they ever run matches concurrently, like at the same time as the other ones?
Only on the final day of competition. By rule, the last two matches of the group have to happen at the same time.
So they could put them at Citizens Bank and at Lincoln Financial.
I doubt they would do that, but theoretically, yes. But imagine the parking for two stadium, showcases. At
They
the
can
same
handle it
time.
because they have separate parking.
Oh, that's true.
The Eagles have games and the Phillies have games at the same time.
Oh, well, that's true. So I guess you could do that. You could do that. So that could work. So, and then you have University of Pennsylvania, this stadium. Very dated. Again, one of those old historical stadiums. At least it's not like Brown, is all I'm going to say.
God,
It's
I
five
didn't-
new stadiums.
I honestly didn't. I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing Brown Stadium.
I think the Longreach Stadium, our high school stadium, is nicer than Brown's.
Oh, absolutely, by a long shot.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I don't think Brown's Stadium had a gate.
You're right. It's just open.
It's like a rec center.
That's where the neighborhood kids just want to go. They don't play football on the street. They just walk over to the stadium.
They just go to their backyard and they've got a stadium there.
But anyway, University of Pennsylvania, old-fashioned stadium, but still really workable. You got the historical buildings right over here, so that could work in their favor. Just a little feature, and the facade is nice. So, and then in Washington D.C., the only stadium but viable is
Yes,
RFK, which by some miracle is the stadium where the United States soccer team has played more than anywhere else, which is surprising to me. Just because I didn't expect that. But still, RFK, good stadium for soccer. No one else is using it right now. Chances are they might renovate it, so you never know.
Where does DC United play?
DC United got their new soccer-specific 20,000 seat stadium. Really nice. It's too small for any of these bids, but
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's a nice stadium. I've been there a couple times now for U.S. men's national team games. Really good. Good atmosphere. The crowd there is great. The seats, there's not a bad seat in the house. It's a smaller stadium, so you're always close to the action, and the incline is nice because it feels like you're right on top of the field no matter where you are.
So, Gerald, just a quick detour. What's the status on the Redskins getting a new stadium? Because I've heard this rumor for the last couple of years now that was
I've
coming.
heard that rumor since I was 6, all right? So I don't know. I think the lease is signed until 2027 or something.
Jesus, 7 more years.
7 more years. I
Redskins
don't
probably won't have the name Redskins in 7 years.
I don't know. Dan Snyder might actually sell the team.
Good.
I know. It's just bad. I have not heard anything other than what came up last 2 years. They had a design ready, but they couldn't figure out where to build it.
Gerald, you want to have a friendly bet on which of our horrendous owners either dies or sells the team first?
I always wanted to be part of. This is completely off topic, but in high school, I always wanted to be part of y'all's group where you had a celebrity death pool, where y'all would bet on the next person who would die.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We should start that back up again.
I bet that Cedric the Entertainer is going next.
Cedric the Entertainer.
What a sleeper pick. I like that. We had I think it was John guessed it correctly one year. It was that Red Wings player.
Oh yeah, the old what's his name, Bobby Orr?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I was like, oh my god, someone actually won the. It was crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that again, different categories and everything. But yeah, I think
pick Betty White.
No,
she doesn't die. She's like the Queen of England. They just don't die.
Now, James Dolan just beat coronavirus, so I know he's all high and mighty right now. So
That's
he
the only
might
thing the Knicks have. It's the only thing the Knicks have beat in the last 20 years.
Right. Jesus.
He might just die of strep throat because he's just so high and mighty right now. But you never know.
All right, so World Cup.
Yeah, so RFK, really good. It's been used for a previous World Cup, been used for other soccer tournaments. Excellent stadium. Right there in D.C. You can't go wrong. Nation's capital and all. And then, yeah. It's big.
It do be big.
That's about it.
Yep.
That's about it.
Big, red, and ugly.
So it's like a pimple. Pimple on Marilyn's face.
With some yellow scattered.
That's
It's infected.
It's got rosacea.
The Redskins are just Maryland's infected team.
I think someone called it the NFL's perennial swine flu or something. Anyway, you can see obviously where they took seats out because this bowl used to go all the way around.
Now, is that all red now? Because last time I went. It was actually Eli Manning's last start of his streak before we decided to start Geno Smith for some godforsaken reason. But anyway,
I think this is the most recent picture. Is that it's all red now instead of the FedEx colors that they had for years.
Because that was bad. It looks better all red, but the FedEx colors, that was pretty bad.
Neon green, purple, orange, blue. I think.
Yeah, this was not a good look.
I know. Well, this stadium's not a good look.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's big. It'll work. Maybe not the parking, but it'll work. And then you have M&T Bank Stadium, a much nicer stadium with the team's colors. This is I think the most recent renovation pictures that I could find with this big screen they have here.
Yeah, because they got
the corner screens.
They put the 4 screens up in the corners. It looks real nice. I went to a game in December. I think it was their last home game.
And they put new grass in, like instead of any field turf, they put actual grass in. I think I like that, which is always preferable. Also, by the way, World Cups are played on regular grass, so either you're going to cut some and put some inside, or plant some and grow it. So that's just going to happen to whatever stadiums are on this list. Right. So yeah, there's that.
They've had soccer events there before.
Definitely, yeah. It's a good stadium. It's a good stadium. They've held Gold Cup games there before. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, we can skip this.
Yeah, it's used because it has a seating capacity. Next. Now it's a historical and significant stadium. Navy Marine Corps Stadium.
In Annapolis.
Yep.
I parked there every
stadium
day for work. Excellent stadium. Great parking opportunities. Got downtown Annapolis, not 5 minutes away.
It'd be perfect for a World Cup. And then you have a bunch of. I think this is the inside of the stadium still. You could have standing room stadium all the way over here, and just imagine the party that would happen. Any goal was scored. Like, it'd be great. Navy Marine Corps Stadium is.
Make sure nobody vandalizes the Blue Angel.
Listen, when it comes to soccer fans, they are some of the worst fans I've ever seen.
Somebody's going to fly it.
One of my old coworkers used to work at FedEx Field as a event security person, and they used to say the worst games were always soccer games, especially Mexican soccer games, because the fans are insane. They have no respect.
And if you do the Navy Stadium, then you could get the flyover before the game starts.
Absolutely, get a flyover, and
that could be the opening game.
And you know what? No, the opening game has to be in a bigger stadium.
Yeah, it's not as big.
But the you know what, you could just use the Navy trainees as the midshipmen as the security detail. Just have the Navy there.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, because you get one drunken World Cup fan swinging on a member of the
United States. And then you've got an international crisis.
Yeah, right. It's good in theory, Gerald, but
you've got a Pan-American war.
It's a funny idea, is all I'm saying. Just imagine the Navy being the security for this stadium, or the Marines.
The Navy.
The Marines. SEAL Team 6 just comes out of a helicopter. Who's throwing beers?
Jesus.
All right, so there's that, and then there's West Virginia University. Another excellent stadium atmosphere. I think they can carry that over to World Cup. I think it'd be great. You could still have a halftime performance of Country Roads. It'd be great. It'd just be great.
Exactly.
And then Marshall University Stadium. This one would need an expansion a little bit, like a small expansion.
Marshall University existed.
I forgot too until I started looking at the list of stadiums in each state.
Box score every single year in college football, and they lose by like 21. It's like an 18-39 game in week 3 versus like San Francisco State or something like that.
Yeah,
they're always good. Season 3-9 or 3-8, not bowl eligible.
Now, interestingly enough, the GOAT himself, Ahmad Bradshaw.
Ahmad Bradshaw. But Yeah, Marshall University.
Ahmad Bradshaw. He played for the Giants and the Colts. What a
Yes,
goat.
sir. And Hakeem Nicks. Y'all stole our Super Bowl team from us.
The GOAT, Pierre Garcon. The GOAT.
Section 3 is literally just 4 states: it's Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Kentucky used to be part of Virginia, and Tennessee used to be part of North Carolina, so I think it works out pretty well. It's basically half. It's half of the it's a quarter of the SEC and one tiny bit of the ACC. So it could work. Pretty nice stadium, pretty big stadium. So you have Lane Stadium, in Virginia Tech, and you also have Scott Stadium in Virginia. One thing you would have to do is, because you can't have standing room stands right up next to the pitch, is you would have to put some seats here. But I don't think that should be too bad since it's just grass. But anyway, this would need a major renovation, or at least some temporary seating to make it work.
Norfolk State.
Norfolk State. It's not as bad as Brown.
Yeah, at least it's like.
How is it worse than Marshall?
I don't know. The distance from the stands to the field is actually really bad if you think about it.
That is horrendous.
Look at the corner. Look how far the corner seat is from the end zone.
I think you could fit the entire neighborhood behind Brown in that gap.
Get this. Norfolk State Spartans football program has an all-time record of 334, 334, and 14. So they're perfectly 500, and their bowl record is 0-3.
Jesus.
All right then.
Hey, last year they went 5-7.
That is a perfect stadium for a 500 all-time team.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks about right.
They're D1 FCS somehow.
Somehow, nothing's better than mediocrity to keep you in the game.
They're in the MEAC.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Somebody get the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference out of the FCS.
Someone get half of these schools out of the FCS. Let's be honest here. Anyway, you have Kroger Field in Kentucky.
Yep. Excellent stadium.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. You got Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. Very nice.
Lamar Jackson, big trust.
There you go. You got Bank of America Stadium, where the Carolina Panthers play.
No, I just don't. That color scheme is really off-putting to me. I really don't.
It's the team's color scheme. What do you want? You want gray like they have at MetLife?
So,
no, I'm not. Listen, by no means am I defending MetLife. I was sitting on this and putting it on my not so honorable mentions list earlier. I was really looking at this stadium. I really just don't like it.
I look at a Bank of America field the same way that I look at Nationals Park, and I've probably been to about 40 games at Nationals Park, 20 of which were Dodgers games when they came here, and it's a fine looking park, like the same thing. This is a fine looking stadium, but it's so antiseptic, like it could be put anywhere. National Park has nothing about it that makes it DC. Bank of America Field has nothing about it that makes it Carolina.
I think the exterior of the stadium actually stands. It has a little bit of architecture at the top ring, and it's the only stadium in the NFL apparently that has 3, seating sections all the way around, like continuous seating sections. Yeah, so it's an actual I forgot the technical term for it, but it's an interesting stadium. It'll work perfectly because of the capacity, the seating, and the field dimensions for soccer. So, and they've held soccer games there before. The Wolfpack, NC State, their stadium should work pretty well, at least for some group stage matches. Huh?
Looks identical to Maryland's.
Just about. Just without the extra 3 stands on top on this side. Yeah. Looks about the same. Dowdy Ficken Stadium at East Carolina. There you go, PJ, your next pirate stadium.
Shout out to East Carolina. Sup Dogs won the best bar.
No, I took a tour of East Carolina.
Yeah, I see that tour. That tour was a waste of time then, wasn't it?
Best bar winners. Aside from that, ECU is a waste of time.
Well, it was a waste of time for PJ. He ended up going to HEC like me.
Hey, dog, listen, Dragon Wagon. Why don't we put
Dragon Wagon, HCC, put that on there. Howard Community College, open it up for the World Cup.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
sir. I would be the first one at that game. Go Dragons, dog.
Go Dragons.
Absolutely not. Hey, look, that soccer, our first semester there, our first or second semester there, our soccer team made it to the community college nationals. No one cared though.
I was gonna say it's Dragon Wagon.
No one. They had them on the TVs in the cafeteria. No one cared.
Interestingly enough, I have more Dragon Wagon pride than I do Towson Tiger pride.
Dragon Wagon.
Towson is Towson.
Dragon Wagon was it was an experience. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, especially with your friend group.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Good times in Pink Whitney.
Moving on, you have UNC, the Tar Heel Stadium. This should be good enough for a World Cup, I think.
Yeah.
And
I still have that deep hatred for back in our ACC days. Still North Carolina and Duke. I'm not feeling them.
Yeah. Well, luckily enough, Duke is also on the list.
No.
I mean, yeah, they have. I mean, they have good enough state. There's one thing here. Yeah, you see these bleachers are gonna have to go. They're gonna have to be put seats in there. That's the one thing that'll kill a stadium is bleachers. But you can get away with it. Just put some seats on top and then leave afterwards, or take them off afterwards. It won't do it too much damage. In Tennessee,
the
Neyland Stadium. Neyland.
That is on my honorable mention of one of the best college football stadiums in sports. Neyland Stadium, where the Vols play, is excellent. Crowd is unmatched.
It's imposing. It's scary probably to be a visiting team there. Imagine 102,000 seats, 102,000 people in orange and white, booing you.
Yeah,
that is a colossus of a stadium.
And they live in Tennessee at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
No offense to anybody watching from Tennessee.
My oldest sister, my half sister, she's from Tennessee.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Don't worry. She doesn't watch this.
No, I was saying I'm sorry for her, not to her.
Well, she was born here. She grew up there. But anyway,
even more sorry.
Anyway.
It means she chose it.
Yeah,
not really.
Somebody chose it.
No, somebody chose it. Anyway,
you look at Matt Dart and say, "Well, guess we're going to Tennessee." Hey, look at Tennessee again. First of all, the Titans.
Nissan Stadium. I think it's good. Quality stadium. Isn't it basically the same as Heinz Field almost structurally?
Now, where's the houses? Because anytime I play in this stadium on Madden, it looks like there's a little village going on.
Yeah.
I mean, Nashville has that Old Town feel, so some of the buildings are made like that. But it's also right on the river too. I know you can't see it here, but there's like a bridge and a river around there. It's not bad. Like they shoot fireworks from the bridge on 4th of July there. My sister always goes on about it. It's actually really nice. I plan on going to Nashville at some point just because it's Nashville. But
Yeah, I mean definitely down the road. But it looks like a bland stadium and
fair enough. It'll work for a World Cup. It just depends on the game that's there. So anyway, you have the Liberty Bowl. Very old-fashioned stadium, but it'll work. It'll do its job. And you have Vanderbilt Stadium.
Commodores.
Yeah. Might have to put some temporary seating on this stand, but that shouldn't be too hard. Because I don't know if you can tell by this picture, but this stadium just cuts off right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just put a few more stands on the end zone side or on the goal side, and you'll be good. All right. And then you have the southeastern region with South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. You got Memorial Stadium over at Clemson. What's it called? Death Valley?
Yep.
Imposing stadium. Really good stadium. Good crowd. I think this is Williams-Brice Stadium in South Carolina. Yeah. Apparently their turn-up song is Darude Sandstorm.
Yes, it is. Yep. Darude Sandstorm is one of the most hyped college football stand songs.
I mean, it'd be good. It'd be good for a World Cup. You got Sanford Stadium, the biggest stadium in Georgia. It'd be really good. They actually, I don't know if you know this, they have hedges around the field so that people don't rush the field.
Yep.
And then you got the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Excellent stadium. Great.
Absolute.
concessions.
I think
And
one of the best.
It's got the 360 jumbotron,
Yep. I think it's.
and there's
I
not a
think
bad
it's
house. I sat all the way up in the upper reserves for a Falcons game. They got destroyed. I can't remember who they played against, but it was a fine event with a super great atmosphere in the crowd. They weren't pumping in any crowd noise. It was just dead quiet.
Yep. I think one of the best things about this stadium is that they built it with soccer in mind because Atlanta United, the MLS team, plays here, and they actually sell out this stadium.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible atmosphere. One of the a good soccer city. Like I was surprised how well they took to the soccer team, but they have won a championship there. They're an imposing place to go play. Perfect for a World Cup. And you got Georgia Tech
Atlanta.
Stadium. Yep, it's right in the middle of Atlanta as well. It's Atlanta United before Mercedes-Benz Stadium was built. This is where they played. Also, really good atmosphere if you get the right people in here. So if during a World Cup, it'd be perfect. And then in Alabama, you got
Roll Tide.
the Crimson Tide. You got I forgot what its name, Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yep.
I think it's 101,000 seater.
It's a big stadium.
It's a big stadium. It's just really big. So, you better get your marquee matchups in here. And then you got Jordan-Hare Stadium. Also, technically another really big stadium. It just looks small compared to Bryant-Denny.
Got the hedges too.
Yep, they got the hedges too. And also another good one for Alabama. You got Legion Field, which is actually used during the 1996 Olympics for the soccer tournament. So I know it has the capacity to do a good job hosting games. It has 70,000 seats, so it'd be really good.
And they've also got Samford right down the road from UAB.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You got, I think this is, I forgot which one this was. Pull up the note real quick. Yep, Ladd-Peebles Stadium, University of South Alabama. And you also got Ole Miss Stadium. And you got Mississippi State. So these are just the biggest stadiums I can find that will work. I think this is Cajun Field. This is a multi-use stadium for different colleges in the area. Pretty standard, nothing too special about it.
Southern Miss.
Yep, Southern Miss. And now we get to the Florida section. This is where we're going to have a bunch of stadiums. This
Ray
is the
J
state.
Stadium.
Ray J.
He's got his own stadium.
I know. A bunch of these in Florida, the reason I said it was a stretch is because a bunch of these would need to be expanded. But I think, they'd be willing to do it because it's Florida. So let's see how Florida would do. You would have University of Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Florida Gators play there. Wonderful. Yep. Wonderful atmosphere. You got a Florida State University Stadium where the Seminoles play. Another great atmosphere. Imagine
That's a
the
beautiful
entire
stadium.
Yes,
I
it is.
know. I noticed that I always see the inside, but the outside is wonderful.
Yeah, I've never really seen the outside before. That's a fucking beautiful stadium.
Yeah. So it's like World Cup quality stadium. So imagine the entire World Cup audience, instead of doing the Seven Nation Army that they usually do, imagine them doing the tomahawk chop. They can get into that. Anybody can do that. We almost tried to do that at Long Reach games. You remember that, Corey?
I do remember that.
And then we would put the trumpets on
the
top of our head.
chop.
Give him the chop. Yeah. So a wonderful stadium, actually. Really nice. Really nice. Nice on the inside, nice on the outside. Good choice. I think PJ can take this one. The TIAA Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a big TV.
That's all you need.
And, that's about it.
That's about it. Hate the color, hate the city, hate the team.
There ain't nothing wrong with the city of Jacksonville. I've spent many a summer in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a wonderful place.
Well place.
Hate the team, hate the stadium, love the TV.
Tom Coughlin. Something good came out of that.
Something good. And then he went back.
And then he went back and blew up the team.
Is that a thing? People who leave New York teams just blow up other teams?
Derek Jeter.
I
Well,
know.
if they don't blow up their own team first.
No, I know. They just blow up the team that they go to.
Yeah,
Imagine what James Dolan would do if he became the new owner of the Washington Redskins.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
It'd be chaos.
Oh,
There'd be
no.
riots.
Anyway, moving on.
Raymond
Tampa Bay
James,
Buccaneers, the Raymond James Stadium, Ray J
Pirate-
Stadium,
Pirate ship.
baby.
Pirate Ship Stadium. Yeah. So
$1,000 says a bunch of people try to get on the pirate ship at a party.
I'd take that bet any day.
if it's Mexican fans, I'm not gonna. I know I'm gonna end up sounding like a broken record within like now and the rest of the
So
future
what's
that we do this show.
what's the countries? Because I know it's mostly like the Latin American countries where like you got like flares and like smoke going off.
No,
everywhere in the
okay,
stadium.
okay. That is actually Argentina. You got that. You got it in Germany, and you have it in Greece.
Huh.
I'm gonna show you a video eventually, maybe at the end of the presentation, of this one soccer club in Greece called Aris Thessaloniki, and their fans, how they celebrate the game about to start. You'd be shocked. All right. But I'm gonna show you that afterwards. But anyway, yeah,
Right.
Mexican soccer fans are some of the worst soccer fans I've ever seen. I hate the team. I hate the way their fans act when they lose. I hate the way they act when they win. They throw bags of piss at people at their stadiums, by the way. When they're playing in Mexico, if you're on the
That sounds
opposing
like a good
side,
time.
I mean, yeah, they throw bags of piss. They
Sounds like a
throw
Tuesday.
cups and beers. I forget that you guys like to drink. Anyway, wait, never mind. Drink water. Drink water.
Drink water. Family show.
It's a family show.
Oops.
Good show.
Anyway, Raymond James Pirate Stadium. There you go. You also have the Citrus Bowl. Actually, a really nice stadium, renovated. I think it was built old-fashioned to host soccer games because of the field dimensions that they have. They've always had an excellent grass stadium. It's just, perfect for soccer. And there's no primary tenant, so you could just use it as much as you want.
Is that where they have the Pro Bowl?
I mean, where they have it now, yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, think about it. If you, we just need an extra stadium laying around there. Just take
Right.
the Citrus Bowl. It's just there. It's nice. Just take it.
Super
Fair
nice.
enough. You would also expect the color to be orange for the Citrus Bowl. Interesting color choice there.
It used to be orange and white, but they renovated it. So,
Hate to see it.
anyway. Hard Rock Stadium.
Now I hate this damn stadium. I hate the toilet bowl roof.
Hold on here.
So bad.
Hold on here. I think it's better than it was.
I think you're wrong.
I definitely am going to have a hard disagree with you on that one.
Look, here's the problem. As a football stadium, yeah, it got worse. As a soccer stadium, it got so much better. It is now one of the premier soccer venues in the country because of its renovations.
Well, I mean, if the Dolphins aren't bringing anybody in, then go ahead.
Well, I think that's what the city did. They said, well, the Dolphins aren't doing it for us, neither the Marlins. Let's build a soccer stadium and attract some international attention. And it worked because you know what one of the first soccer games they ever had at that stadium was?
What's that?
Barcelona versus Real Madrid.
Barcelona.
Yes. The two most famous Spanish clubs in the world. Two of the most famous clubs in the world, period. In one of their best rivalries in the world. In Miami. I mean, it worked for them. They made their money. So it's a good soccer stadium. It's perfect for the World Cup. Although you guys hate it. Why do you? What is it about it that you guys hate? You said the toilet bowl
it's
roof.
the roof. It looks like a toilet.
Yeah. The
You
outside.
could just as well put up the TV screens in the corners and called it a day, but then you had to put that big ass thing on top of it. It doesn't make sense. It's not like what does it do?
It's not a logistic thing. It's like they
It's-
were looking for an awful aesthetic.
It's built in the European soccer style. That's what it was.
Well,
But
the
then
European
why-
soccer
like,
style
You
sucks.
couldn't even make it like a retractable roof at least. Like it's just there's just a hole. You couldn't decide if you wanted a roof or not. So you just
You got a
Well,
roof
yeah,
for the
we'll
stands,
figure
and the
that
field's
later.
exposed to the elements. That's how it's made. That's how they do it.
Awful.
Anyway, yeah, sure, okay, that's fine. But anyway, Hard Rock Stadium definitely on the list. You got the UCF Knights Stadium. You know, it's pretty simple, but you know,
Undefeated,
basic.
National champions.
National champions. Disney World parade having.
Awful. One of the worst storylines in college football.
We deserved a national championship. No, you didn't play good teams. Shut up. Shut up.
Keep it moving.
I know, keep it moving. Like the stadium's average too. That's what it is
Maybe
too.
you have a terrible organization and keep on.
Miami Marlins Park, because the Marlins aren't doing it.
good God. You know, it looks a lot better as a soccer stadium.
Right? That's what I
The Marlins look a lot better as a soccer team.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things someone ever said is that this the home run sculpture they have in the middle.
God, ooh.
You know, the home run sculpture, it looks like one of the Catholic candles you light.
Jesus.
I mean, it works perfectly. I'm sure any Latin American teams will feel right at home.
It really is the worst.
Oh, Miami, why do you do the things you do?
I mean, who is running the stadium business down there in Miami? They're making a lot of questionable decisions.
Not
Except for
Derek
basketball
Jeter.
stadium.
It's got to be Pitbull. That's my first thing. It's got to be Pitbull.
Pitbull's in all the board meetings.
Mr. Worldwide. Yeah, we really agree with that.
Anyway, moving on. By the way, this would need this temporary stands as an expansion.
You
Technically,
can just keep that stadium up. They don't need to play baseball there.
fair enough.
They can have it. On behalf of all Major League Baseball fans.
FAU Stadium. If you close this up right here, it'd be perfect for soccer. Actually, just
Lane
close it.
Kiffin's team, Florida Atlantic.
Is
Fair
the
enough.
other end like that with the cutout in the corner?
No,
Or
it's actually
one corner?
it's actually built. See, I don't know if you can see the seats over here in the corner. Like it has it. It has a tiny bit of a notch here, but it's filled mostly.
But
It's just
that's
like
the
that.
only corner that's missing.
Correct.
I believe so. Yes,
Interesting.
I know. Florida.
Florida.
Exploria Field would need a significant expansion, maybe temporary, maybe not, but they have a good fan base here for their new MLS team. They do really good. The purple works really well for them, so I think it'll be good. They're in Orlando as well, so another Orlando site. Just have everyone stay at Disney hotels and then go to the games. And then I forgot what this stadium was called. I believe it's Bragg Memorial Stadium. Expansion and renovation needed. That's all I wrote for that one.
Is that FAMU?
Yes, FAMU. So yeah, you just need the stadiums, and then finally Tropicana Field.
Ugh.
Oh my god. Florida just needs a whole. Oh my god.
Take Florida and push it somewhere else.
Just
You can keep the pirate ship though.
Yeah,
We'll allow that.
it's the best.
that's about it. You just like the pirate ship. That's it.
No,
Yeah,
I love
you can
the
get
pirate.
rid of the stadium too. Just keep the pirate ship.
Keep the pirate ship.
Fair enough. Oh, it always floods in Florida anyway. You need the pirate ship.
They should make that the state capitol building.
The pirate ship is actually Noah's Ark. That's why it was built.
And it just landed in Florida, and the world hasn't been good ever since.
The worst place
That
it could have
makes
landed.
sense.
Anyway, so yeah, some major renovations needed in the Florida sector, but still technically has enough to host its own World Cup. Next, the Southwest region, you have Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona.
I'm feeling it.
Arizona
right.
would get the true grass in there.
That's true. LSU, excellent stadium,
Tigers.
perfect World Cup stadium. You also have the Superdome. I put a picture from the inside because we all know how we feel about the outside.
Oh, it would be crazy for a World Cup game. It'd be insane.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
fireworks and everything going off. You have what stadium is this one? It's got to be Independence Stadium, Louisiana
great
Tech.
stadium.
So, I mean, it's simple, but it does what it's supposed to do.
Loose football games.
Fair enough. You got Cajun Field. The Ragin' Cajuns.
What a great name for a team.
It's Louisiana. What do you expect? So anyway, yeah. And then you have, I believe this is Razorback Stadium.
Yes, one of my favorites, Arkansas.
Razorback Stadium. Definitely a World Cup stadium.
Absolutely.
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
And then you also have War Memorial Stadium. Also in Arkansas. Oh, but don't they play half their home games there?
No, they play them all in the other stadium.
I thought they used to split. I think they used to split or something. I don't know why. But anyway, War Memorial Stadium. You also got, what is this guy? I'm blanking on the names here. Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. You got OSU Stadium as well.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State University. Yep. Good field dimensions, good stadium size, seating capacity. It'll all work out. This one would need, I believe, a renovation. I think Dream Style Stadium in New Mexico. Yeah, it needs a bit of a renovation. And you also need a renovation for Aggie Memorial Stadium of New Mexico State.
The field looks massive.
Yeah, that looks enormous. Well, because the illusion here is that each one of those stripes is 5 yards. That's the illusion.
Right.
I think they doubled the lines is what they did here.
Yeah, they had to.
These
I
look
can't
re-
think of another way that it would look like that. I don't want to have to think of another way that it would look like that.
just a long
Jesus
thing.
Christ, that is a big field.
It's as long as the Washington Monument is tall.
My God. Imagine running a touchdown return for that.
You could have the whole World Cup there at the
Only
same time.
yeah, at the same time.
2 games at the same time.
No, all of them.
All of them.
You
Just
divide it
run,
up like they do
run
at,
the stadium, run the fields this way.
it looks like an NBA practice facility where you've got like 4 different courts in the same building.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, okay, so there's that. Yeah, State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Rollout field, excellent. Excellent. They always play. This is like one of Mexico's favorite stadiums to play in the U.S. They always throw beer on the field.
Also, the home of Super Bowl 42, the second greatest Super Bowl to ever happen.
It got,
Also the home of
got eclipsed the following year, didn't it?
NFL, Cliff Kingsbury with the goat house.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the crib on lock.
Now, did you say that the Cardinal Steelers Super Bowl was better?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad Super Bowl, but it was certainly no helmet catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it had a toe tap
Yep.
to win
Which
the game.
I still thought he was out of bounds for years until I finally got.
You saw the like secondary enhanced video and all that. And you're like, it just so happened his shoe happened to be like an extra 1.5 inches longer than the other one.
Right.
Big toe.
He was made for this.
Anyway, so yeah, this is an excellent stadium, perfect for soccer, would work perfectly. Sun Devil Stadium, seen here with like new field being planted. It's hosted Super Bowls before.
Really?
Yes,
Which
it
one?
has. Super Bowl 30.
Huh. Never would have thunk.
Well, because it used to be, they recently renovated it, but it used to be even bigger. This stand on top used to go all the way around halfway, and the only cutout was over here where this building was. But anyway, still a really good stadium. Still, would be good for the World Cup. And you have the University of Arizona, their stadium. Good, nice grandstand right there. Chase Field, again, temporary reconfiguration, but I think it'd be good. You might want to close the roof if you don't want to get these soccer players sunburned.
Yeah, the soccer players from Latin America.
No, I'm talking about the Europeans.
You got to watch out for the Germans.
The Germans like playing in cold, musty weather because that's what they're used to.
Germany is.
That's what them in England. But if you get an African, imagine a German team versus an African team in this stadium. African team's going to win.
There would be an advantage.
There would be an advantage.
Unforeseen advantage. Got to call the competition committee on that.
Everybody's going to be like, can we talk to FIFA about the fact that they score 7 more goals in this stadium anywhere else?
Speaking of that, y'all remember, what was it, 2014 when Brazil just got absolutely ruined by Germany?
Oh my goodness.
God, that was awful.
I watched it live and I watched replays and I still can't believe it. Like, it's insane. But because they were supposed to win, but that's what happens when you build a team around a singular player, which was Neymar at the time. But because the Colombians they were playing with earlier, like in the previous round, decided to knee him in the spine and crack one of his column bones.
It's the way you do it.
I mean, right. I think the Colombians realized we're not going to win, but we're not going to let them win either.
I mean, you can't knock the hustle.
The GOAT.
If you're gonna take on the bad guy role, might as well go all the way.
Man, look at Curry, man.
Just look at the Pistons.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look at Curry, man.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Chase Field. And then you get to the Texas region. This one was a lot easier to find because Texas is Texas and they have stadiums left and right.
They have high school stadiums that are big enough.
I know they do. They have high school stadiums that are $100 million to build.
Yeah. Take it seriously there.
I mean, Texas is Texas. Anyway, Kyle Field, Texas A&M.
Oh, beautiful.
I think this would have to be one of the final location candidates because you can't beat that. Imagine that. I mean, and then you have Longhorn.
Yep. UC
Texas Stadium. Yep. Texas Memorial Stadium, I believe. Another really great stadium. You have the Cotton Bowl just sitting there, kind of like the same thing with the Citrus Bowl. It just sits there. You can use it if you want. So might as well. They've played, this is also one of the other host venues for the 94 World Cup. So it's good to, it has history and they could just use it again. PJ's favorite stadium, Jerry World. I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, there's nothing more. Look, there's nothing more FIFA than Jerry Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
When you put it that way, there's no arguing. There's nothing more FIFA
There's
than
nothing
Jerry
more
Jones.
illegal and cheating than Jerry Jones.
God.
But
It'd be
also
such a great place if it just wasn't Jerry World.
Yeah, but obviously probably the front runner for a final stadium, or at least the inaugural stadium, because it's an amazing stadium. It just is what it is. So next one, NRG Stadium.
Nerg.
Well, it used to be called Reliant Stadium, but NRG.
I like that stadium.
It is
Energy
good.
Stadium.
Didn't the Giants win in here too?
They've had 3 Super Bowls there already?
2 or 3. The Giants won one here, didn't they?
No.
Oh, that was Indianapolis.
Yeah. Yep. The house that Peyton built, Eli won the chip there.
It's all in the family.
And then Peyton got his ass kicked in the house that Eli built.
Yeah.
It happens.
I don't like to think about that.
Anyway. NRG Stadium, another really good stadium, retractable roof, excellent field quality, excellent seating. Scoreboard is huge. It's perfect for a World Cup. The Alamo Dome, another one of these stadiums that just sits
Yeah.
around doing nothing. It's just there, so just use it.
As
It has
well.
60,000 seats, 61,
They
62.
the XFL was using that.
Yes, they were.
So was the AAF.
Yep.
Well, I think they wanted an NFL team. They wanted an expansion franchise.
Yeah, but you're not going to get an expansion franchise now.
I mean,
Not in this political climate.
if the NFL ever expands to 40 teams,
It's absolutely not going to 40 teams. They had a hard enough time selling them on 17-game seasons.
oh my gosh, you're right. There's 17 games now.
Yep.
That's the least they can do
Right.
after all this is over.
I mean, fair enough. If they start,
And they added in the extra playoff teams.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's right.
So it's not going to be like 6 games in 2 days of playoff football. Wild
So
card
how's that going to
playoff.
work? Who's going to get the buys then?
It's just the first seeds.
Just the first seed gets the buy?
I believe so.
Jeez.
What they really need to do in fixing the playoffs in any kind of sport is number one, make college football 8-team playoff game. And number two, make the wild card a series because everything else in baseball is a series.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Even in the regular seasons, if
You
you're,
could,
talking about,
it doesn't even have to be a full.
if you're talking about the Reds versus the Phillies, just make
Make it
even during
at
the
least a
a three-game
3-game series.
no, just make it 3 games. That's it. 3 games.
Higher seed gets 2.
That's yep, exactly. Just 3 games.
None of this.
Home,
none of this.
away, home. That's it.
Yeah, none of this. What is it? None of this all-star game deciding home field advantage.
It's stupid. Team with the best record gets home field advantage. That simple.
Yep.
Why
So
should
anyway.
why should players from 15 other teams blowing everything get to determine how you play?
Literally blowing everything.
Literally just destroying it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I'm glad they changed that. But anyway, Alamo Dome, sitting there, useful, 60,000 seats, air conditioned, perfect.
Alamo Dome's nice.
You have a Texas Tech Stadium, also be really good for the World Cup. You got the Sun Bowl, which I think
The desert,
middle of the desert.
they need to expand it out for parking in the fan zone.
Yeah, but you could just pave the desert.
Just
Fair
take
enough.
the sand and move it into the other part of the desert.
Just for real. Just, I mean, make it level.
Just
Pour
put
some
it in
asphalt.
the sand. Just put it in the sand.
Just
Make it level.
make it level. Pour some asphalt. You're done.
You don't even need asphalt.
I mean, if Greg Abbott is still in charge,
Just drive in the sand, man.
that's true. Put some gravel there. Make sure you don't sink too much, and that's it.
Quicksand.
There you go. Anyway, Globe Life Park, which is no longer used by the Texas Rangers.
They've changed to
Globe Life Field.
Yep.
But this was also used for the XFL. So they reconfigured it. I couldn't find a good picture of it, but they have new stands over here, and it actually works really well as a stadium for rectangular sports.
And that stadium's only like a decade old, right? Like it's not that old.
Right, so it'll last. It's just going to be useful. Best scene at this stadium, though, is still always going to be Jose Bautista being punched in the face.
oh,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, I think Rougned Odor might throw the second best right hook in all of baseball, second only to Nolan Ryan. Absolutely dropping the guy that charged the mound.
What is it about the Texas Rangers drafting boxers?
That's what it is, man.
That's what it is.
Something,
All right.
something. Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, basically. Rice Stadium in Texas.
I forgot Rice was a school. There's the old
You know,
joke
this-
that they're in the
this
huddle and they're getting.
This is gonna remind you. This is gonna remind you of what my family always says whenever I force them to watch the Olympics opening ceremony with me. They're like, I always forget how many countries are in the world until I watch the Olympics and have to sit through all of them.
There's like as many as there are bones in your body.
Yeah, 204.
Yeah, a lot of countries.
A lot of countries. A lot of them just there as token countries.
Who's there?
Is Azerbaijan going to win a medal?
Somebody
No.
get Guam in here.
Puerto Rico gets to compete as its own country.
Let DC compete.
At this point, might as well. Anyway, Rice Stadium.
Anyway, Rice Stadium.
And then TCU Stadium, the Horned Frogs.
Horned Frogs.
Can you believe they were in the first ever edition of the college football playoff? They were in the hunt nearing the end of the season.
Yeah, Texas Christian's great.
I know.
Team. They're
They're
always
just-
like top 20.
I know. They're always really good. They need a little more recognition.
Like
And
SM.
another, SMU. Definitely. This is one of the best stadiums for soccer that is a football stadium I've ever seen.
McLean.
Yeah. Over at Baylor.
Yep.
Just the style is it's good.
Shout
It's
out
just it's just good. So, and it's right on the river. Scenic views. Maybe a little more parking could work, but it'd be perfect. Fan atmosphere would be great. You know,
It's got a lot of
perfect
parking,
stadium.
but it actually has extra parking over to the left and to the right where you can't see it.
Oh yeah. Or you can just have everyone come by boat.
Just swim.
Just
There's a boat
Mex-
there somewhere.
Mexicans would be like, "Well, I made it this far."
There you go.
Daryl really just does not like Mexican soccer fans.
I don't. Look, I don't.
It's
like
not
the
Mexican.
team.
It's just Mexican soccer fans.
It's
which is all Mexican.
I do. I love Mexico as a country. I want to defend them because they're part of my family of Latin American countries. I like the people from Mexico. You know, my former pastor was from Mexico. I have friends that are from Mexico. You know, Mexico's really nice. It's great. It's just that damn soccer team and their damn fans that support them. I hate it. It's the absolute worst. Like, I don't mind anyone from New York. I don't. Some of my good friends in life have been from New York. But if you're a Yankees fan,
Hey, listen,
it's just like that. Like, I don't have anything against you except for the fact that your team is terrible. The problem I have with Mexico as a soccer team.
Look, I
I
got
was
friends
gonna
from New
say
Jersey, but if you call it a Taylor ham, then we got a problem.
Look, it's the fact that the team has had the United States number for so long. Like, the United States has been number 2 in the region in terms of soccer for such a long time. And it's always Mexico beating them. And then you always win here and there against Mexico, and it's always nice. It's fun. It's great. But they can't stand it, so they start throwing piss at you. I just,
I mean, honestly, that seems like the only logical course of action.
I mean,
Damn, we
no,
got
but
beat.
like, I can't stand the like. They're no.
I'm not gonna lie.
Here's the
If
problem. Here's the problem with Mexican soccer fans. They are the worst losers on planet Earth. I've never seen a group of players or fans lose worse than Mexican
Never been to a Ravens
sports
game.
teams.
Now, listen.
I mean, no, hold on.
If-
I'm not done.
Okay.
It even bleeds over into baseball. Corey, who was the first baseman for a long time for the Dodgers? What's his name?
Oh, Adrian Gonzalez.
Yes, he was on a Mexican baseball team for the World Baseball Classic, and they lost their group and didn't advance to the next round to like Italy and some other team, like Israel or something. Like, they lost. And the first thing Adrian Gonzalez does, he's like, on behalf of the team, the Mexican Baseball Federation is no longer going to be part of the World Baseball Classic group.
Yeah.
Because, this organization is run so poorly and the teams they've chosen were so bad. They want to be as good as a Little League World Series, but they're not, they're not even close and all that. I'm just like, I hate Mexican sports fans. I just do. They're the absolute worst.
But back to launching bags of piss. If
It's logical. That's all I'm saying.
if the Yankees lose to the Astros one more damn time in the ALCS, it's going to
breaking out
be
the piss
piss
bottle.
bag throwing time.
Yep.
You know what? I get that, but
Bring out the piss.
that's at this point that's fair. But I just say, because soccer is such a big part of my life, and Mexico has always been the bane of my existence in terms of soccer
You've
teams.
never gotten to break out the piss bottle.
Look, I'm not going to do it,
Uh-huh.
but
I mean, I'm already
Yeah,
going to get
yeah.
a charge when the Knicks win the finals for my fireworks display. So, what's a couple of bags of piss?
If the Wizards win anything ever, I'm gonna get arrested.
That's
So for
fair
the rest
enough.
of my life, I'm gonna have a clean record, right?
I guess, yeah. No, there was something I saw online. It was like Governor Hogan has now stated he is extending the stay-at-home order until the Redskins win a Super Bowl. I'm just like, I'm dying at home.
I'm moving, dog.
Yeah. Anyway, McLean Stadium, good stadium, right next to the river, so the Mexicans can swim there.
Transition.
Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, you can skip past this one.
Just let me point out for
Man,
soccer,
that
it'd be
left
perfect.
field
It'd be
is really
perfect for
familiar.
soccer. It'd be perfect for soccer because of all the camera angles. That's it.
No, yeah, we know. Yeah, they do have a lot of camera angles.
Good broadcast.
University of Houston Cougars, their stadium would work out pretty well.
Dude, I forgot UH existed.
I forgot. Like, if it weren't for their basketball prowess,
Prowess.
Their former
unquote.
prowess. They have no. What PJ means is they have prowess like the Knicks have championships.
Knicks got yeah.
Like it's in the past, their history still exists, but they are terrible right now.
Fair.
I mean, let's be honest here, Gerald. You're making the Knicks have been asked for take away Patrick Ewing and Walt
Well, they couldn't
Frazier,
even do
or
it with
go
Patrick
Frazier?
Ewing, so I don't know.
What?
They couldn't even do it with Patrick Ewing because he went around finger rolling.
His finger roll was mean, man. Pat
Not
Ewing.
against
One of
the
the
man.
mean-
I
Pacers,
know
it wasn't.
PJ's just seething right now. I just want to egg him.
Not against the Pacers, it wasn't.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know. Ask Spike Lee.
Dog, that's another team. Like, if I could pick a franchise from each sport to just send it to oblivion,
It's
The
the
Indiana Pacers.
it's the Indiana Pacers.
No, but you can't send them to oblivion because we need the malice in the palace.
I don't know where Bolivia is.
South America.
Where's Bolivian?
Anyway, University of Houston. And then you have the West Coast and Mojave region.
Ooh.
Now, these was probably the easiest section just because almost everything is so recognizable. So you have the LA Memorial Coliseum because they're not going to tear it down.
Yep.
You have the Rose Bowl. It's hosted two World Cup finals, one men's, one women's. It has history, probably the national stadium of the United States, like we said.
Most beautiful, perfectly circular stadium you'll ever see in your life.
It's an oval, but yeah.
It looks pretty
Have you seen it from above?
well, yeah, but I'm just saying from that angle, it looks very, very circular.
It do.
Anyway, Rose Bowl, excellent stadium, perfect World Cup, has history, has, just imagine just a sea of people. Qualcomm Stadium, assuming it's still up. They haven't knocked it down.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
that's where the Chargers used to play.
Yeah, this is where the Chargers used to play.
Oco
That's-
Coliseum. Put it in there.
I did not put Oco Coliseum in here.
Where's Oco? We already know.
I did not put that in there because it's no longer going to be a football stadium.
We already know it can be used for more than one sport,
Qualcomm was used that way too, so
but it's not Oco.
it's better.
Everything. My backyard, which I don't have, is better than Oco Coliseum.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist by virtue of it not being there. It's
Is better than Oco Coliseum.
anyway. You also have this is a crude rendering of SoFi Stadium, what got soon to be one of the premier stadiums in the world. Obviously, you're going to want to host World Cup matches there with this floating Oculus screen that's going to be double-sided. It's going to be inside and outside screen. So
Damn.
It's going to be good. Hold your money, see which one's better, Mercedes-Benz or this one. You never know.
I feel like that one would give me like a migraine. Trying to discern which one I'm looking at.
Fair enough. You have Levi Stadium. It's hosted international matches before, hosted tournament matches before. for all the complaining that the football teams do about the field quality, it's actually really good for soccer. So
God, I still remember when back when they were having all those fires in California and the Giants had to play the 49ers and the entire game was like smoked out. It was crazy.
that's California.
It's like a game at a TD Garden.
Yeah.
When the Bruins lose,
Dude, literally they would do the pregame pyrotechnics, and then for the rest of the game it would be smoked out.
do you remember when they used to do that at what is it, Indianapolis?
Yeah, at RCA Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if you look up any of the like 2008 Celtics games, it's all smoked out. You're like, oh, this is like bad quality video. And it's nope, that's really what it looked like.
It's just smoke.
It's just smoky.
Yep. So Levi Stadium, really good. You got California Memorial Stadium, where the I think Cal Berkeley Golden Bears play. You know, another one of those round, old-fashioned stadiums, just perfect for just going to enjoy a game. You have Stanford Stadium. It's actually a really nice stadium.
Andrew
Good
Luck,
dimensions.
the GOAT.
Andrew Luck.
I always like playing the Stanford on NCAA with the mascot ones.
Yeah,
I
with the
just run
tree.
around as a Christmas tree.
Oh yeah. Imagine the Christmas tree versus the Syracuse Oranges.
Making the toe tap catches with no arms. It was intense.
That's the worst, best mascot in college football.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great. Here, look, he's over here in the corner. Can you see him?
Yeah,
There you go.
there's a lot of
Oh,
them.
boy.
There's not just one either, which is the
It's a forest.
well. There's like
Here, we can't have real trees in California. They'll burn. So let's just have some fake ones.
yeah, pretty much. Hit the nail right on the head with that one.
There you go. Stanford Stadium, World Cup quality. And then you have
I'm feeling it with the transitions tonight.
Fresno State Bulldog Stadium.
Those lighting fixtures are horrendous to look at.
Terrible.
Well, you're not looking directly at the lights unless you're a moron. You're a moron.
Well, I'm just saying,
You'll be
from
looking
afar.
directly at the lights.
No. This is nowhere near. This is still better. I'm sorry, and I hate to do this because this is my mother's country, but the National Stadium of Guatemala, they have 4 really big, even like with more lights on it, on these fixtures, stands at the corners of a stadium. It's a national stadium, so it has a track, and it's blue. It's light blue for the color of the flags, and it's actually a really nice stadium. It will work for these damn light structures. They stick straight up, and the problem is they didn't angle any of the lights down, so they just shoot straight out and miss the field. So whenever you see a game there, it's dark. I was looking for a game between the U.S. and Guatemala once, and I was just like, I was trying to figure out. Wait, I'm like, is that our players? They look black. I'm like, no, it's just that dark in the stadium.
Jesus Christ.
And I always watch it with my family. My mom's side of the family, because they're big soccer people, and I always watch it with them, and they're always just like, yeah, we know. I'm like, you guys are construction workers, almost all of you. Just fix the lights. And I don't know how you messed that up. Just point it down. I don't get it. I don't get it. And they went through a renovation recently. They didn't touch the light fixtures. I'm just like, are you serious? But anyway,
questionable decisions going on over there.
well, it's Guatemala, so they elected a comedian as their president at one point.
What does the capacity have to be for
40,000.
40,000?
Yeah.
Stadium in there.
You know what?
You can get Dodger Stadium to do it.
You can. I didn't put that there just because California has enough and the region has enough. But like, if you needed to, you could do Dodger Stadium
Without a doubt.
Yeah. You have in Las Vegas a perfect soccer town, a perfect sports town, if we're being honest. Allegiant Stadium. So I think it's gonna have like 70,000 seats. So the Al Davis flame in the back. We'll see.
The Raiders are never going to let go of old Al.
Why would you?
As long as Mark Davis does bowl cuts, Al Davis is going to be part of the Raiders. Anyway, we're going to continue on to Oregon Stadium. I forgot what it's called. It is Autzen Stadium. I thought it was a German stadium at first. Autzen Stadium. Yeah. Interesting. It's actually, for the most part, it's a regular old bowl here, and then all of a sudden on the home side, it's just massive. So, that could be like a home field advantage for whoever team is sitting on which side.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. So you do Oregon Stadium, Beaver Stadium, Oregon State.
The other Beaver Stadium.
The other Beaver Stadium. I think it has a different name. Resser Stadium is actually the name. And then you do Washington Huskies, their stadium. Really interesting, actually. It looks really weird.
They've got a weird stadium.
Huh?
They have a weird stadium.
I know.
I don't like that. I don't like how it looks like they're tiered on top of each other. I mean, that could just be the angle, but
No, they are, because
Yeah.
if you see here, it goes on top of here and then the roof. But over here, it's tiered and then this tiny section and then another section.
oh, I
And
didn't
then
even
the-
notice that tiny section. That's gross.
It bothers me the most that it's asymmetrical, that this roof is closer to the end zone than to the sideline than this roof.
Good Lord.
But it's big and it can host a World Cup match. So you'll take what you can get in Washington.
Fair enough.
CenturyLink Field has one of the best stadium soccer atmospheres in the country. It's up there with it. Actually, it preceded Atlanta for best soccer city. Really, if we're talking about it, great fan culture, great fan support, awesome. The stadium just works perfectly for soccer. So it does the same thing, and it's the same thing. Where they accidentally funnel the crowd noise onto the field. It just works. Now imagine a World Cup game over there.
That'd be ridiculous.
The Germans would enjoy playing in Seattle. We're going to continue on. I think this is Washington State. Yeah, Martin Stadium. Definitely expansion needed. But with a little bit of work, it could work.
Wazoo.
Now you get to what I call the Great Basin and Midland region, or what you could call the no man's land of America. Now, most of these are just going to need a ton of renovations, just because they're all really small and kind of crappy. But take what you can get. I needed 11 regions, and this ended up working out this way. So you have Boise State.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately,
We
Yeah.
got Boise.
Corey, you'll be disappointed by this. You have to use natural grass for the
Damn.
World Cup.
Can you dye? Can you color the natural grass?
I think there's probably a way.
Yes.
They might
All right.
figure out a way by that
I'm
point.
no longer disappointed.
But chances are they might not want to. But they'll have to think about it.
It's in the Boise contract.
It's in the Boise. Like, if you want to use our stadium, you got to have blue, whether it's real grass or fake.
Yep.
All right.
Got to do what you got to blue.
Yep. The Smurf turf.
Smoif Toif.
And you have Montana Grizzlies. I think it's called Washington Memorial Stadium, which doesn't make any sense for Montana.
Who knows?
Also, by the way, the Boise Stadium needs an expansion because it's like 35,000, so it's not that far off. This one needs an expansion because it's like 32,000. The Wyoming Cowboys definitely needs an expansion. You also have BYU, the stadium.
Jimmer Fredette. Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Jimmer Fredette. The GOAT.
Westchester Knicks legend.
Dude. Jimmer Fredette. The GOAT. Steph Curry before Steph Curry. I
Fair
picked up
enough.
Burnett in the last week of my fantasy basketball league 2 seasons ago because he got signed by the Suns. Got me like 10 points, and then he got kicked off the team.
Wasn't he tearing it up in China for a little bit?
Yep, the GOAT. He dropped like 90 points in a game in China.
Well, it's China.
Dog, something about
Lin,
Knicks
Chinese.
players in China. You got Starberry Marbury, the legend himself. You got Jimmer Fredette.
Jeremy Lin.
You got Oh no,
Does he play in China?
No, he is Chinese.
Oh well.
Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin got his ring last year. He was on the Raptors.
Yes, he was. I'm saying he is Chinese.
Speaking of which, the Knicks Twitter has decided that's Jeremy Lin Celebration Week. So for the entire week, there's just been pictures of the 2011-2012 New York Knicks all over my timeline, and honestly, I'm loving it.
Dude, J.R. Smeezy.
Reliving the Linsanity.
Dog, Linsanity was. I've accepted that's the greatest my life is going to be as a Knicks fan.
Fair
Dude,
enough.
the Carmelo and J.R. Smeezy combo.
Dude, the 2012-2013 Knicks,
Ooh,
we were
dude,
the second seed. Those boys.
not gonna lie,
Who do they end up losing to?
I'm really surprised J.R. Smith isn't signed to a team.
Yeah, we'll take them back.
Yeah,
But
dude,
Gerald, guess who we lost to in the playoffs?
the Nets.
The Pacers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was the year of what was it? LeBron won that year too, right?
Yeah, that was the year Ray Allen hit that shot.
Oh yeah.
The corner.
God, I was rooting so hard for the Spurs.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a crusher.
And the people trying to get back into the arena in Miami because they thought the game was over.
Stupid.
Anyway, BYU. And then you have Utah State. Rice Eccles Stadium has actually been, it's an Olympic stadium, if you can believe it. The 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Games opening ceremony and closing ceremony were held at this stadium. I know that means nothing to you guys, but that's,
I didn't know that Salt
This
Lake
is the
City
trivia.
had their own winter games.
Huh?
I didn't know that Salt Lake City had their own winter games.
Yeah,
Yes.
they happened during your lifetime. Do you know that?
It's not like Atlanta.
I know. It was in 2002.
Interesting.
And they want to host it again, by the way.
Dude, they can have it. Get Joe Ingles.
At this point, in Winter Games, it's a lot harder to find, good hosts.
Get my man
So-
Joe Ingles out there to announce it.
You know who I think it's funny. You know who the president of the Olympic organizing committee for the 2002 Olympics was?
Joe Ingles.
No.
Oh.
Mitt Romney.
Really?
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, man. Big Dick Mitt.
Tying his dog to the roof of the car.
God.
You gotta
Anyway,
love it.
the Olympic quality
That man is-
Rice Eccles Stadium at Utah State. The Utes, I think they're called.
Yep. The Utes.
Interesting.
What is their mascot? A Mormon priest?
Not just a Ute.
The hell is a Ute?
Somebody from Utah.
they just picked some random.
It was
fan
just
off the
another
street.
Mormon.
You. Are you from here? Yeah. All right. Get in line. You're the mascot today.
Just a white guy in a white shirt with short sleeves, a bike helmet, and khaki pants with a shoulder bag.
And he's got a Dave Matthews CD in his car.
By the way, I can deal with
Shout out Dave Matthews.
shout out Dave Matthews. I can deal with Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on my door. Like, I'll open and let them know that, like, hey, I'm good, thank you, goodbye. I will not open the door for a Mormon.
Dog, I don't like anybody knocking on my door talking about religion.
Bro,
Go
I just pull out the Glock whenever the Amazon worker comes up. What do you think I'm going to do with a Mormon?
Buy cocaine. That's what's.
was terrified of the Amazon driver. I feel that. I don't. Here's an interesting story. This is very off topic, but
Delivering in my house.
it's kind of on topic. So in 5th grade, I was walking home from school, and this car pulled up alongside me, and like some dude jumped out. I thought I was about to get kidnapped. Anyway, I hauled ass back to my house. Like I'm Usain Bolt would have been yards behind me.
The goat.
So I get to my house and I'm like, had this intense experience, and I hear a knock on the door. So 5th grade me was ready to catch a body or two at this point. So I grabbed like the biggest knife in the kitchen I could see, and I answered the door. It was the UPS man. I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I had to sign a package for him. I was standing there with a big old knife.
Is that what you almost did to me the one time I chased you up the hill with 3 bags and 2 instruments in my hand?
This boy Gerald came flying up open meadow.
Hold on, the context is
I threw his binder on top of. Gerald was short at the time, and
I still am. I've only grown 2 inches.
Yeah, well, I put his binder on top of
a shelf. But I didn't know that. I thought you had stolen it.
Right, you thought I stole it, but I had really put it on top of the shelf. So, anyway, I'm walking home, and I'm like almost at the top of the hill, and all of a sudden I turn around and I see Gerald flying up like a bat out of hell, yelling my name.
No, I got your attention first because I yelled my lungs out there, and I'm like, PJ! I heard the echo, so I knew it was loud.
It was,
and I see you turn around and look at me. And I can see the white of your eyes expanding, and then all of a sudden you take off.
Dog, I thought you were about to kill me.
You just loved it.
Yeah, the crazy look in your eyes. I wasn't trusting.
He got to the house, and I chased him. I knocked on the door. He's like, this dumbass. He decided to open the door to me. He's like, "Can I help you?"
Yeah.
This is not the PJ you were looking for.
And you know what? And this friendship has been the same ever since.
Anyway, Utah State.
Anyway, Utes.
Shout out Utes. The GOAT.
That wasn't even Utah State.
Shout out Utah. The GOAT.
This is Utah State.
That's even worse. What's the name of this team?
I can't see it, but if I can say anything, this stadium just looks sterile.
Nah, it's the Aggies, bro.
Jesus.
Aggies?
Yeah.
I just looked it up.
I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it because I don't, Anyway,
shout out Mike Conley. Not that Mike Conley. Mike Conley of the Cowboys went to Utah State. The GOAT.
Anyway, this would definitely need a little bit of expansion. It would need some better parking because I don't think the church over here in the corner is going to let them use some parking.
$5.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, hey, the offering plate.
Tree fitty.
I would charge the hell out of parking if I was any business in that area. Cannot knock the hustle.
Anyway, after this stadium, I think the new name of this stadium, because they got rid of Sports Authority Field because they went bankrupt. Yeah, it's in Power Field at Mile High.
Yep.
Anyway, it's still a really nice stadium.
Shout out Peyton Manning, the GOAT.
Shout out Peyton Manning. Shout out John Elway.
Soccer players run around for 90 minutes nonstop in the thin old.
Well, here's the problem.
Oh my God, I didn't even.
You know why Mexico likes playing there?
Because it's the same as Mexico City.
No, because Mexico City is twice as high up.
Yeah. So it messes up every other team.
And it only gives Mexico an advantage.
Ugh. Shout out Mexico.
No, don't shout out Mexico. Not their soccer team.
Even though Mexico City was that high up.
Yeah, it's in the mountain.
They're high. Not their IQ.
Yeah, they get high in Mexico.
Edgy.
God, it's Mexico. I will say they do have the best tacos in the world.
Shout out.
They sell that as stadium food. Tacos, like hand carved tacos.
They got that at Dodger Stadium too. Shout out.
Oh, then never mind. I don't have anything to like about the Mexican stadiums.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, even less to like about Mexican soccer. Anyway, Denver Field, a mile high.
I feel like everyone's also preface this episode with Gerald discussing about how it's a hatred towards the sports fans and not the country. I feel like this could be misconstrued in a way.
It is. I explained that earlier. If you're still with us, by the way,
I feel like you should start.
This is nothing against the people of Mexico. It's nothing against the country. I don't like their government, but I don't like mine either.
That's the name of this episode. Is Gerald hates Mexicans.
Don't do that.
Gerald does not hate Mexico.
I have an appreciation for Mexico, their culture, their significance in the Latin American community. Their, it just hate their soccer fans. I hate their sports fans. Their soccer fans, especially, they're sore losers and they're terrible fans. They throw stuff at you. If it's not bags of piss, it's bolts.
Shout out piss bags and
That they
bolts.
took off of a crap lawnmower that broke down.
Shout out piss bags and bolts.
I fully support the piss bag endeavor.
I would throw a piss bag at Jose Bautista.
You know what? I would too.
Yeah,
Just anyway.
sounds about right.
Anyway, yeah, I don't hate Mexico or Mexicans. I hate Mexican soccer and their fans.
Fair enough.
Continuing. Colorado, I believe this is the Boulder, I don't know. Colorado University.
The Rams or the Buffaloes.
I
I think it's the Buffaloes.
think it's Folsom Field University, Colorado. Yeah, I believe it's Buffalo.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Fair enough stadium. Again, seats on top of the benches. Nothing too much to do. This is an older picture too, so it might even be nicer.
Shout out Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Alumni, the GOATs.
You also have Falcon Stadium, the Air Force Academy. If you're including the Naval Academy and West Point, you got to include the Air Force Academy, which is, out of the three, definitely has the worst stadium.
I can't join the Air Force because my vision is terrible. So I'm gonna have to boycott this game.
Boycott this. I guess we used to have a running joke in science class that if we enlisted, they would put us in the lowest post. They would be like, "You qualify for the Delaware Air National Guard."
Yeah,
But I guess PJ doesn't qualify for that either.
I don't even qualify for the. It's real bad.
It's
You
real
just
bad.
signed
All right,
for
so
the
what's the next stadium?
The next stadium, Colorado State. These are the Rams.
Yep.
So
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
So all right, simple
Shout out
stadium works
Ron.
for
With
works for what we needed to work for.
Shout out Ed Orgeron.
And you have Memorial Stadium, Nebraska. This is actually one of the more storied in the region because of yeah. It's just four walls of fans, which is pretty intimidating.
It's gotta be pretty cool in there.
Yeah. And they have the parking because what else is Nebraska going to do?
It was at K-State.
This is K-State. What's wrong with K-State?
Everything's wrong with K-State, bro. Name me one person ever who has gone to K-State.
You can't shout anybody out.
Can't. No, I can't. I don't know anybody who has.
He finally ran out of shout
I mean,
outs.
shout out like
Shout
Darren
out Kansas.
Sproles. 5-foot giant. Shout out Darren Sproles, I guess.
Shout out Darren Sproles. All right, Kansas State.
Hey, Jordy Nelson went to K State.
Shout out Jordy Nelson.
Shout out Jordan. Anyway, obviously, fair enough stadium.
Oh no! Shout out Josh Freeman.
The GOAT.
Some kind of goat.
Terrence Newman.
All right, we're moving. Then the University of Kansas, or Kansas University. I don't know which way it goes.
Shout out Bull
The Jayhawks. This would need a little bit of a renovation because it actually is a pretty old stadium. But it would work for what we needed to work for.
Shout
And
out.
that's all we're looking for.
Bust.
Moving on. The 10th section, the Midwest and Mississippi River region. So you got U.S. Bank Stadium, one of PJ's favorites. Really nice. Glass ceiling works perfectly.
And I think they built it so it can actually handle snow this time.
Yeah.
Don't cave in.
Just imagine one day on the news.
Dome was bad.
Just imagine one day on the news. Well, the entire glass structure roof of US Bank Stadium has completely collapsed onto the field.
I mean, that's an easy cleanup. I mean, what's the worst that happens if you lose the glass? Like, you gotta deal with a couple snowflakes for a little bit. Like,
There's a
it's not like
reason
the entire roof collapsing.
there's a reason they chose to have a roof, even if it was just a tarp last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, US Bank Stadium, purple seats, perfect for soccer, wonderful stadium, brand new. Hopefully no one's going to climb the rafters and drop a giant banner down this time, but you never know. It's Minneapolis. What are the white people going to do?
Shout out Purple People Eaters.
You also have TCF Bank Stadium, where the Vikings were playing before they got into US Bank Stadium at Minnesota
Giants went
University.
there and got their ass whooped.
Go Minnesota. Shout out Bob Dylan, the GOAT.
I mean, hey, can't just have Bob Dylan there at these stadiums. I hope
Bob
during
Dylan is
halftimes of
dead.
all of these games, they just have a local celebrity just do something there.
If Bob Dylan's not dead, then he's close enough. I don't think he's doing any kind of shows.
No, I'm pretty sure it hasn't been alive since
He's like-
1996.
He's like 80, dude.
I know. Didn't he win like a Nobel Prize for literature?
Dude, probably. It's Bob damn Dylan.
Yeah.
Out of everybody who I've called the GOAT this video, I think that Bob Dylan deserves it more than anybody else.
Bob Dylan's a spry 78 years young.
A surprise.
You know, I think he's more of a GOAT than Nick Collison.
I don't know, bro.
Shout out to GOAT.
We got Duluth.
Win an NBA award and then retire that same year.
Hey, I mean, he has his,
Got his jersey retired.
yeah.
Anyway, another Minnesota stadium. Lambeau Field. The most storied football stadium in the NFL.
Shout
One
out to Love. The GOAT.
One thing about Lambeau Field that actually I had to consider is that by technicality, it is not wide enough to hold because the way the grass is planted, it's not wide enough for soccer. So you would have to add some grass on the sides. But I think they can figure that out, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, pretty sure it's Lambeau. They'll find a way. Excellent stadium. Parking seems to be excellent condition because these fields are already obviously sectioned off for extra parking over here. So, perfect spot for a World Cup game. You got Camp Randall, Badgers,
Shout out
Wisconsin. Shout out JJ Watt
and shout out TJ Watt.
and TJ Watt. Don't they also have a younger brother?
Probably.
I thought there were three of them.
Maybe.
There are three of them. The last one's like a fullback for the Patriots or something.
Yeah, don't shout out him.
Anyway, shout out JJ and TJ Watt.
If you're watching this,
Shout out Watts.
Mystery something J Watt.
AJ Watt.
No, it's probably something weird like DJ.
RJ.
I'm not looking up.
Ray J.
I'm the fact checker during this segment.
Ray J Watt.
Could you imagine?
Dates Kim Kardashian.
Raymond James Watt.
It's Derek.
Derek.
It's not even a J. They ruined it. It's just Derek.
Well, no wonder we're not shouting him out.
No shout out.
No wonder
No,
he's a shitty one.
Anyway, Camp Randall, Wisconsin. Good stadium. Kinnick Stadium,
Shout out Kirk Ferentz
where they will continue during the World Cup
to wave to the
to wave to the children because that's a universal
but not the
feel-good
Mexicans.
moment. Huh?
I said, but not the Mexicans though, right, Gerald?
I think they might hold. I think they might, out of respect, hold off from throwing piss at other fans. But that's about it.
They're gonna
That's
start
about the best
throwing
you can
piss at the sick children, or
No, they'll hold off on it. They'll like stand there. They won't shine the lights. They won't wave, but they'll just stop throwing crap at other fans. That's their sign of respect, I think.
honestly, we should just. I was about to say we should just have a whole episode on Gerald and his endeavors with.
I mean, this is basically what it's been at this
It's
point.
pretty much just this episode.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what we've been doing. Anyway, Kinnick Stadium, Iowa Hawkeyes, perfect stadium for a World Cup, as well as Iowa State,
Shout out Iowa State.
the Cyclones.
On the Iowa State, I'm on it.
Iowa State alumni.
My great uncle he went there and he has got the computer science building named after him. Shout out John Vincent Atanasoff.
I was gonna say I just saw this.
Go.
John Vincent Atanasoff.
Yeah, something slight kind of invented the computer.
Well, no wonder your brother's working at, what is it, Johns Hopkins Research.
No, he works for Bethesda now.
Oh, well, Bethesda's a lot better than.
Yeah. Shout out to Goat.
Shout out Kaya Tanasoff.
Nah, shout out computers, bro.
Shout out. Don't tell Mr.
Shout out
Kendall.
Wires.
Don't tell Mr. Kendall he go on for 30 hours.
Mr. Kendall already knows, man. Shout out Mr. Kendall, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Offering John and I candy in the back of his secret room.
No, shout out Mr. Uric.
Thanks.
Anyway, Soldier Field, another favorite home of Mexican fans.
Fuck the Bears. Not even going to give them a shout out.
They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it for messing up Soldier Field. They messed it up.
Not
It was.
giving a shout out to Rex Grossman.
Not giving a shout out to Mitch Trubisky. Actually,
You think I like Rex Grossman after everything that happened, PJ?
Dude,
Sexy Rexy.
Y'all
No.
swept us the year that we won the Super Bowl. That's all I'm gonna say. You couldn't have been that bad. Rex Grossman has more Super Bowl appearances in the last 15 years than
For
the rest
some
of
reason, as soon as he was named the start of the next season, he decided to be as good as Colt McCoy.
Hold on. You guys are missing out on one of the best things in the world with Rex Grossman. There's this long thing on what is it? It's just some kind of weird post that's like from the perspective of Rex Grossman. And he's like, is that Berrien? I think he's triple covered. You know what? Fuck it. I'm throwing it downfield. Yeah, I see Jones open on the flank, but fuck that. Dump off passes are for losers. I'm fucking sexy Rexy Grossman. I can get that ball in there. And even if I can't, I bet I'll be able to pull it off the next go round. I like throwing the ball long. It makes my D hard. What's that? I should throw a quick slant. Fuck that. That's gay. Button hook, gay. Flare out, gay. Screen pass, Kevin Spacey, gay. This is fucking football. You can't just expect wins to come to you. Oh shit, looks like Samuel caught it again. Oh well, still fucking great to throw that shit.
them.
Grossman we're talking about here. We're talking 210 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. I'm not just a gunslinger. I'm a cum slinger. Throwing that ball long tells all the rec sets that I'm out there on the edge where I gotta be. The ladies love the danger, the unpredictability. Oh, maybe I'll tease them with a pretty touch pass every now and then again. But then I'm gonna go right back to pumping that ball out for all it's worth.
Christ, how long is this thing?
Oh my
It ends with "Tell me you're not turned on right now. I am." Shout out Rex Grossman and shout out
Oh my god.
shout out Jay Cutler, who always looks like he should have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Good lord.
The real shout out to sexy Rexy Grossman.
Anyway, Soldier Field.
Soldier Field, where the U.S. has a 2-1 record in tournament finals over Mexico in this stadium.
Better record than the Bears.
I mean,
Bears.
The Bears.
Colts beat them in a Super Bowl. Shout out.
shout out Colts.
Shout out,
Shout out Devin Hester.
shout out Devin Hester returning the first play back for a touchdown. Kickoff.
I don't know. Anyway,
The Illini. Do you know what their mascot is?
no.
It's an Illini, which is the same thing as a Ute. It's just a person from Illinois. 100% serious. Shout out Illini.
World Cup stadiums, man.
Shout out Hugh Hefner.
I mean, hey,
Rest in peace. The OG pimp.
he
Shout out Darren Williams, dog.
he died, left paradise, and went to heaven.
Yeah. The GOAT.
Anyway, fighting Illini. What a useless mascot. At least we're a turtle.
Named Testudo.
That's hard.
That's character.
It's something.
Better than just a Mormon from Utah.
It's a Ute, man. Dude, the Utes finish in the top like 10 every year.
I don't care. Your mascot sucks. It's a Ute.
All right, so what's next on the list?
Anyway,
How
Northwestern.
many sections? You said there were 11 sections?
Yeah, this is the second to last segment. We're almost done. Northwestern
Oh, Lord Jesus.
are apparently Longreach's father stadium or father color.
Shout out David Schwimmer.
Shout out Hugh Hefner again.
Shout out Danny DeVito.
Yo,
Holy shit. Everybody went.
Oh
Dog,
no,
everybody
also
went.
as well.
Yo,
Also,
shout
shout
out
out
Zach
Julia
Braff.
Louis Dreyfus.
Shout out
Dog.
Zach Braff.
Mad people went to damn Northwestern.
No, for
I
real.
didn't know it was popping over there.
No, it is. Northwestern's great. And then shout out
It's
apparently
not.
who was
It's not great.
Corey. Hold on, Corey. Who was do you know who the band director was at Longreach before Bill String?
No, I don't.
I think it was like somebody. Shout
Well,
out
that
whoever.
Shout out Michael Wilbon.
Who?
Shout out Mike Wilbon.
Mike Wilbon.
Chi-Town.
Shout out PTI. Greatest show on ESPN.
Shout out Tony Kornheiser, the old honky.
Yes, sir.
With the Canadian flag.
Corn man. Loves DC and all of its sports.
Fair enough.
The GOAT. All right, what's next?
Shout out Northwestern, I guess. I don't know.
What do we got
Apparently it's popping. It's still terrible school. And stadium, if we're being honest. I mean, just put seats here. Why is there grass?
That's where they come out.
But over here?
I don't know. That's their like flagpole area.
That's where they need to put seats. Anyway, Arrowhead Stadium.
Shout out Big Daddy Patty.
I was about to say, I'm like, you're gonna have to say that one because he deserves it.
No, actually, shout out Steve Bono, who has the longest touchdown run by a quarterback ever.
Nah, shout out Priest Holmes.
Priest Holmes. Wasn't the longest field goal in history over here, or was that in Denver?
63.
That was in Denver.
Denver. It had to be in Denver. Well, there's two tied for 63. Don't
Either
remember.
way, Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, really nice. A lot better than Kaufman.
Yep.
The Edward Jones Dome,
Jesus.
assuming
out
it's still
Paul.
standing. Shout out Stan Kroenke.
Shout out Kurt Warner. Greatest show on turf, baby. Shout out
Show on turf.
Yo, shout out Torrey Holt. People forget about Torrey Holt.
Yes, sir.
Long neck, looked like Chris Bosch.
Jesus Christ.
St. Louis, you do deserve a football team, but not in this stadium. So get on that.
They already have one in Missouri. Kansas
Which
City,
one?
man. Chiefs. Kansas City's in Missouri.
I mean, yeah, but you want St. Louis.
You really want to give Missouri two football teams?
I mean, they already did have two football teams.
Yeah, which was an oversight error because nobody realized that Kansas City is not in Kansas.
What would you rather have, St. Louis or Kansas City?
Kansas City.
But if you could have Arrowhead Stadium in St. Louis, wouldn't it just be the same thing?
No, because then you can't have an Indian mascot.
Well, don't tell the Redskins that.
No, I will tell the Redskins that.
Redskins just got to make their logo a potato.
And Cleveland Indians.
Or just change the name. Just say Americans.
You don't get further away from it like Native American heritage than DC and Cleveland.
Or Chicago.
Like
Literally
Atlanta,
the capital of the nation that laid waste to the entire Native American population, and you name the damn football team the Redskins?
At least
I
name
mean,
them
it's pretty bad.
the Aboriginal.
We're gonna trail of tears. We're
Or
gonna
the natives.
massacre you, take your people, and then we're gonna make a racist like epithet of you and make you our mascot.
Times 4, because there's 4 other teams that have done that.
Shake. But in the capital.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's not in the capital. It's in Maryland.
Yeah, Landover.
God.
They couldn't.
You know, they were thinking about at one point when they were thinking about leaving RFK. They thought about going to Laurel.
Ugh.
I used to live in Laurel.
Where would you even put an NFL
Yeah,
stadium in
come back.
Laurel?
Um, You know where you know where
Route 1.
the big building is on 95, the water building.
Yeah.
There's just a giant field there.
Dude, imagine getting to a football game by driving on Route 1.
No. Hold on. Imagine landing in Reagan National. All right, let's go see the Redskins. You have to drive another hour and a half in traffic to get there.
Sheesh.
God. Anyway, St. Louis. I guess it doesn't deserve another football team, but hey, greatest show on turf. Mizzou. Their stadium has. These are actually all white rocks that each senior gets to take home on senior night. Pick a rock out of here.
Max Scherzer went to Mizzou.
Max Scherzer. Shout out Max Scherzer.
All right, what we got up next?
We got Busch Stadium. Also, a baseball stadium reconfigured for soccer.
Yo, shout out David Freese and the Cardinals.
Yes. David Freese and the Cardinals. One of the best sports moments of was that last decade or this decade?
That was 2009.
Okay, of the last decade. I mean, if only the only reason you would have
Shout out Albert Pujols, who made a deal with the devil that he would be really, really great at baseball, but he had to make his last name Pujols. And not just one poo hole either.
Two Christ.
Anyway, this has got to be one of the stadiums with the best scenery in the country.
Oh yeah, it's got the arch.
The arch, the buildings, the city. It's a nice stadium, so you would want to. And hey, FIFA, one of its main sponsors is Budweiser. This right here would be perfect for them.
Yeah.
So, hey, perfect stadium. A little far, but hey, it works. Continuing on, we have the final region, the Great Lakes Tri-State region.
Ford Field is a terrible complex.
Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Probably the easiest list I made out of all of them.
Nippert Stadium.
You got the Big House, which is
Shout
already
out Mo Bamba. He didn't even go there, but still shout out. He got the song.
Anyway, Big House, biggest stadium in the country, obviously going to host World Cup games. Michigan State, Spartan Stadium, really good stadium.
Shout out Draymond Green.
Shout out Yes Champ.
Actually, no, I take that one back.
Shout out Plaxico Burrs.
You do not get my shout out.
Draymond Green doesn't get a shout out?
No, absolutely not. Draymond Green gets negative shout out.
Are we taking the Plaxico Burrs shout out though?
Yeah, dude. No, it's a shout out.
Okay, Spartan Stadium, Michigan State. Ford Field, Detroit.
Shout out.
Didn't they have a Super Bowl there?
Apparently.
Whose idea was it to have a Super Bowl in Detroit?
They had a World Cup game. They had World Cup games at the Pontiac Silverdome.
I will say, I've been to Tiger Stadium. I like it. I don't like the little runway of dirt that they have going from the mound to the home plate, but
Yeah, but it's a cool stadium.
the stadium is nice.
The field gets a 9 out of 10. The stadium gets a 9.5 out of 10, I'm guessing. Or is that too high?
It's a cool stadium.
It's a cool stadium. Anyway, Ford Field.
I
Good
like
for soccer.
Tiger Stadium.
They're planning on possibly giving Detroit an expansion soccer team. And they're going to end up playing here. Just the bottom bowl, because they would just cover the top bowl with curtains. Not banners.
That has to be demoralizing.
No, Atlanta does it half the time, so it's not as bad as you think. Anyway, Ford Field, soccer, nice. And then I forgot, I think this is called Kelly Shorts Stadium. I forgot who it's. I think it's for Central Michigan.
CMU.
Yep, CMU. Expansion needed. So everything else is enormous. You get the Indiana, you get the Notre Dame Stadium.
Shout out Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann. I mean,
Yo,
again,
shout out Daniel Tice, by the way. Nothing to do with Notre Dame, but just shout out.
just shout out Daniel Tice. Notre Dame Stadium is technically a smaller version of the big house because it has 80,000 seats, but
Small house.
the small house. Yeah, a small house. In America, this is a small house. Lucas
Shout
Oil
out
Stadium.
Shout out to Sagna Diop, Bobcats legend.
Shout out Indianapolis, bro. It's a fine stadium.
I'll give it that. It's
beautiful.
I think it's one of the best roof stadiums in the world, honestly, just because of the field house style is just so unique and good looking.
The house that Peyton and Andrew built. Rest in peace, Andrew Luck. He's not dead, but he might as well be.
That Eli claimed as his own.
Andrew Luck going to come out of retirement and play for the Patriots too.
Hate to see it.
He better play for the Bucks.
By the
Back
way,
up.
worst possible Super Bowl ever is going to be Patriots Cowboys.
The Patriots aren't making it to another one.
Neither are the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, fair.
I mean, that's right.
Now they got CD Lamb now, the GOAT.
Oh,
Brady
so
eight.
they're going to be 8-8 instead of 7-9.
Yeah,
Yeah, because of the 2-8s.
still, hey, it's still qualified.
I mean, look, an
eight.
8-8 in the NFC East might as well be a 10-6.
Yeah,
Like a 12-4.
8-8.
Sorry, I just want the Giants to have a double-digit win season once in my life. Like, damn.
You got Daniel Jones.
They
You
went
would
11-5 a couple years ago. Even when we won the Super Bowl, we were 9-7.
have had it if you believed in Geno time.
God.
That was never going to happen. Anyway, we're almost done here. Ross Ade State. I don't know how to say that. Purdue.
Shout
Shout
out
out Chicken.
Boilermakers. Yep.
Shout out Chicken Nuggets.
Chicken Nuggets.
They do be good.
Chicken Nuggets, that is the
Shout out Drew Brees, bro.
best struggle food I've ever tasted is chicken nuggets.
Bro, best struggle food in the world is jalapeno poppers. Tell you that right
Yes,
now.
sir.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I don't like jalapenos, so
I could eat 100 jalapeno poppers right now.
I don't like jalapeno peppers.
Well, that's on you.
I know. So I'm not going to like jalapeno poppers. I'm going to stick with chicken nuggets.
Nah, dude, they got cheese on the outside, jalapeno, and then you got some maybe cream cheese in there.
How about some loaded potatoes? I'll take loaded potatoes. We're going to have a sports food episode as well.
You assuming that I can afford bacon in this economy for some loaded potatoes.
just become friends with someone at Wendy's. Have them steal you a pack of the bacon they have. People do it all the time. I'm not even lying. They would take these giant packs of bacon meant for the restaurant. And the reason they keep on ordering it.
Gerald over here dry snitching.
For what?
Oh, trust me. We used to all eat the bacon in the back. I'm not even gonna lie. We used to have a pan that was specially put on a warmer that was out of the view of the camera. It's just how it was.
Gerald's taking down names. Snitch on
No, but
everybody.
I would never rat.
Games around this man.
I would never rat out the people at the Wendy's. I would slam the company for anything they ever do wrong. Like this is not up to code or anything.
Wendy's in Columbia.
Yeah, NPC International can. I'm not gonna say that actually. Hold on, it's a family show. Well, it's not
So
anymore.
anyway, Rose Stadium.
All right, it stopped being a family show as soon as Rex Grossman came up.
Yeah, that was the end of it. That was the absolute end of that.
Hey, we gave it a good run.
Shout out Sexy Rexy.
Anyway, Purdue,
All right, so
Ross
what we
Ed
got
Stadium.
after Rose Stadium?
You got Indiana Memorial Stadium.
Fair enough.
Shout out Indians.
That's not what that. Okay,
I mean, just shout out anyway.
just shout it out.
Shout out
Close
Larry
enough
Bird.
name. Hey, Larry Bird. Bob Knight. And then you got Ohio Stadium.
All right, what's next?
I feel that.
Shout out LeBron James because he's a fan, all right? You got First Energy Stadium.
What the hell?
God, the Browns.
The Browns.
That's
Did
crazy.
you even know how the inside of the Brown Stadium looked?
Dude,
I've driven by it.
me too, but I've never been because I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I was.
They want to hold the draft here next year.
Yeah, they should not.
Why the hell would you have the draft?
In
No,
Cleveland?
Roger,
They want to have it at the Rock and Roll Hall. of
Dude,
Fame.
Roger Goodell was smoking that loud during the NFL draft.
Well, they gave it to Vegas next year, assuming there's going to be a draft.
No. They gave it to Vegas the year after because they had already made this contract with Cleveland.
Oh,
Oh,
that's stupid.
I would be
Bring
fine with
Vegas.
coronavirus coming back again just 1 week for the draft, so that they don't do it in Cleveland.
Just another
just
virtual
a
draft.
little outbreak in Cleveland. That's it.
Yeah, we'll give up Cleveland.
Doesn't even have to be coronavirus. Just give them SARS again.
We'll sacrifice the Christmas story house for
To not have the draft.
To not have the draft in
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Like, fine, we're going to Minnesota. That's fine. Just not Cleveland.
That's
Yeah.
great. They got a big ass mall in Minnesota.
The biggest.
So First Energy Stadium. And then you get Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati.
Shout out Joe Burrow.
Go Tigers.
I mean, is Cincinnati going to be anything this year? I don't know.
Yeah. You're gonna be 4-12. Give me something.
They will exist.
My prediction for next year is that the Bengals beat only the Browns and only the Ravens, and that's their entire season.
That's fair enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, the worst I've ever had a team go is well, really technically now the Orioles are taking the cake, but the worst I've ever had a football team go is the Redskins going 3-13.
Yo, shout out the 3-13 Indianapolis Colts.
Shout out to 3-13 New York Giants.
Shout out
Saquon
the
Barkley
three.
bringing the boy home.
Shout out the 3-79 New York Knicks. It's coming.
Dog. Shout out the 4-17 win Knicks teams I've witnessed in my life.
Shout out Mitchell Robinson.
Not once. 4 times I've watched the Knicks only win 17 games.
The Knicks, I think the Patriots have won more games in a season than that. Multiple times.
Yeah. Like in the same time frame.
In the same time frame. The Patriots have won 17 games up through the Super Bowl more times than that, I believe. Jesus.
So Paul Brown Stadium. And then Nippert Stadium.
You can't say that word.
Nippert.
Joe, I think it's time to wrap it up. Jared
Are you
already,
hearing things?
Jared
I'm not
already
saying.
in hot water with the Mexican fan
First
base.
talking about Mexicans, now you're talking about Nippert.
Good Lord. I think we're going to need to take a break.
All right, that's the last of the stadiums.
I personally want to know what you guys think, but I think that the Northeast one would probably be the best fit for it.
Yeah.
Just because
What about the West Coast one?
I like the West Coast or the Northeast or Florida would probably be the most, because the only issue with doing it in the South, and I think that you just scrap it and you do the entire thing just in California. Because the thing about Florida, and I think then you just do all of it in Texas and then do all of it in Florida, like if they're different things, just because that's a lot of distance to travel from like California to Wyoming. And Wyoming, I don't know if they have an airport. Like, I'm 100% serious. I don't know if they have an airport there.
I
There's
mean,
like
that's a fair
300,000
assumption.
people in Wyoming who live there. So I would nix that one just because of Wyoming and the Utes. And I think Colorado would put a like almost unfair like cap against certain teams if they have to play there. But
What happens?
yeah,
You
I
gotta
mean,
deal with it. I mean, when we go to when the U.S. has to go play in Mexico, they have to deal with the place
Exactly.
that's even higher than Denver.
Right. Then I think that the ultimate thing would be doing it in the Northeast, because then it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's still kind of cold
In Maine,
in Maine. Yeah.
just
But I
build
mean,
a stadium in Maine.
I think seriously, like that could be done with just New York and Pennsylvania and Maryland. Like just done that. And even like Florida, like that could just be Florida section. But I think
Well,
that,
this is
I
this
think
is
it'll be
this is
better
not the
for those
same
more
map as the
countries.
this is not the same map as the beginning, because the
Right,
beginning
right,
was the
Oh
beginning
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. Show me
something.
the one beginning then.
Yeah, they have what is it? See, these are the
Here
original
we go.
regions
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had.
Okay.
The
So-
Northeast is the New York and New England and New Jersey.
Yeah, that one is nice. I would say so. In my top, okay, cool. Now I see it. Okay, I would say probably Texas, then the West Coast one, and the Northeast, in almost in the reverse order. So, as much as it would be cool to see the Pennsylvania Maryland thing with Beaver Stadium as the big finale, I just can't see how it would be anything other than Meadowlands, because Meadowlands has everything that you would need, or MetLife Stadium. I mean, it's got everything, and then you can play games at Fenway and in Yankee Stadium.
Well-
And I think that just takes the cake for it.
Also, what you could do if you really want to be adventurous, you could just pick the best stadiums out of every single one of these regions and host the same World Cup at the same stadiums every single time.
Yeah.
Or pick 2 or 3 in each region and rotate them.
That wouldn't be too bad. PJ, any thoughts?
I'm definitely taking Northeast.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to show is that this is obviously, worst case scenario in the world. Something happens and no one else is able to host. That would be the game plan for 8 straight. Be like, we need a country to do multiple World Cups. I'm like, we got 8 ready. No, we got 11 ready, or we can do 8 and combine some of the areas.
Yep.
To do 8 in a row. See, this would be when we the Northeast and Mid Atlantic, and then you get the middle and the top of the South combined together. You would get the entire half of the SEC with Florida and South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. You get Texas along with the rest of the Southwest. You get the Midwest, all of them all together, and then you get the West. And let's be honest, we're just putting Montana, Wyoming in there, and Idaho. Well, not Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming in there as token states.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you got on this presentation, or does that wrap that up?
Surprisingly enough, that's it.
All right.
So I hope you liked our stadium show.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't like
Our
the stadium show, then you'll definitely like the next one, which is not a stadium show.
We had
Well-
shout out. My God, this 3 hours.
Well, hey, shout out.
Shout outs take a long time. Rants about
Shout out to
Mexican
Gretzky.
soccer fans take a long time.
Number 1 shout out goes to Rex Grossman. Number 2 goes to Mo Bamba, not because he went to any of those places, but because he got the song. So that's going to wrap up our episode. We're going to finish up with one last segment, and we missed it last week as I wasn't here, but we're going to go ahead with the best players in sports at a certain jersey. We're going to cover number 2 and number 3. I will go first on that, and I'll take baseball. And the best number 2 in sports in MLB is indubitably the captain, Derek Jeter.
Yes, sir.
Played for the Yankees his whole career. Then there you go, right there. And his 3,000th hit was a home run. It doesn't get better than that. Derek Jeter. Number 3, got to give it to Babe Ruth. I'm not a big Babe Ruth guy because of the era, but, he could hit pretty well and he could pitch pretty well. But there's Babe Ruth on that. 2 Northeasterners. All right, you want to go ahead and take that, PJ?
All right, so taking the basketball route, we're going to focus on my New York Knicks. For the greatest player to wear number 2, we have Larry Johnson, 4-point play, lighting up the Garden in the most electric fan reaction you'll ever see in the history of sports. And then at number 3, we have John Starks, and he might have forgotten how to shoot a basketball in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, but you know what? He was still a dog.
No D Wade. Shake my head.
I got to stay with the Knicks plays. All right,
Oh,
Gerald,
man.
take it away.
All right, and
No
football.
AI, no Allen Iverson.
That's
See
true.
John Starks.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 2 is gonna have to be for me. It's gonna be Matt Ryan, Matty Ice.
That's a hot take.
That's a very hot take.
I never said I wasn't controversial. Obviously, you could see by my Mexican soccer fans' views that I'm a little bit out there sometimes. But hey, 2016 NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, 4-time Pro Bowler. And number 3 is Bronco Nagurski.
Yeah, Chicago Bears, Hall of Famer.
Yep, of the Chicago Bears. Hall of Famer, 3-time NFL champion, 4-time All-Pro. Doesn't get too much better than that. All right.
And shout out Bronco Nagurski. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our 3rd episode of Let's Talk Sports. I've been Corey with Gerald and PJ Dolan, and we'll see you next week.